And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake, helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to another Wednesday workshop. We do these Wednesdays in the evenings, usually for the after work crowd, somewhere around, 7 p.m. usually. We're running a little late this evening, but this is our week 7 of 12 workshop. Today, we're going to be talking about YouTube settings. And we're going to be going into detail and we're going to be showing you some things from our YouTube playbook. This is going to focus on the most important settings in YouTube. So we're going to be getting you through that today. So this is just a quick preview here of the slides and what you can expect. So look forward to that. We also are going to be showing you the actual settings in YouTube and going through the back end for channel uploads, as well as covering individual channel settings that you set up, such as the customization for your About section and for your YouTube homepage and setting up those playlists, but also important settings outrightly in YouTube in terms of your general settings and the defaults for your channel. So we'll be showing you that in the back end of YouTube after we do some basics in the slide presentation. So this presentation is also going to be available for you in the section for live streams on my YouTube channel. We're going to leave the replay up. We're leaving all of the replays of the 12-week workshop up live on my YouTube channel for you. So we want to make sure that you have those, but we also have the slide deck presentations. Those should be linked for this week in the description. And we also posted in the chat for you. We have our mods, making sure that everyone gets those links, as well as any resources that we mentioned throughout the stream. So very exciting stuff here for you guys today. We definitely want to make sure that we're getting some of your questions in the chat. So this is something that we really want to make sure helps inform you. So we'll go ahead and in a second here, we'll go through the entire slide presentation. We will kind of warm up our newcomers. Feel free to share the live stream workshop so that more people can get involved and more people can ask their questions. We'll take as many as we can at the end. We'll take a few of them throughout, but also want to give a big shout out to our friends over at 1 of 10 for all their support. They've been really great with sponsoring other content on the channel. They sponsor our channel reviews. They're not necessarily a sponsor of this stream, but we want to shout them out anyway. We're going to go ahead and drop a link to them to the chat. They're a great YouTube strategy tool that can help a lot of you. I feel like they're a more modern tool than what you get right now with some of the other tools, and that's great for ideation and for doing research on your competitors. So make sure you're checking out 1of10.com. If you use discount code Roberto, they'll give you 50% off for your plan. And if you use discount code AWESOME, they will give you a 30-day free trial if you want to try it for yourself before you commit to buying and paying for anything. We want to make sure you can do that. So make sure you're checking out 1of10.com and using the discount code. Now, let's go ahead and get into our presentation here. And this is going to be part of the ongoing presentation that we've been doing for the last 12 weeks. This is a new slide deck here. We're going to cover the basics again. One thing we plan to do with this creator playbook is once we get through all 12 weeks, there will be a point where we combine all of these into the longest YouTube course that's ever been given away for free. And then we also are going to combine the slide decks and give the slide deck away, the complete slide deck away for free, combining all 12 weeks. And then we're also going to add some other slides that I didn't have time to work on in between to fill in some gaps, some slides that might even reply to some questions and just give more context. The entire 12-week creator playbook that we're working on from the workshops is going to be the ultimate creator playbook, and we think it's going to end up being about 250 slides when we're done. So I don't think that's ever been done before. So we're looking forward to that. Now, if you want to get the slides, you can use the QR code here on screen. If you want to screenshot that, you can also use the link in the description, or you can go to www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/week7, and you will get access to that presentation. So you get that. I think eventually we're going to set this up when we're done with these presentations to where people who go back and watch the replay and get the slides, that it'll also link to the video presentation if somehow they got the slides without being aware of the videos, just so that they can get both and go through the process. So make sure you're checking that out. You can also see all the things we have to offer over at awesomecreatoracademy.com. We have a lot of great resources, paid, free, affordable. We have it all. So, to introduce those who are new to me, I'm Roberto Blake. I'm a creative entrepreneur, public speaker, best-selling author. I've been doing YouTube for over a decade. I've made over 1,700 videos on this channel. I've made over 2,500 videos on YouTube, 2,000 hours of live streaming in my career. So I'm no stranger to content creation. I've done interviews on over 100 different podcasts in my time. So no stranger to content creation. I've been doing this for a long time. Since 2016, I've been earning six figures as a content creator through various means. In the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I founded Awesome Creator Academy. So between the YouTube content, sponsors being my biggest income stream, and Awesome Creator Academy, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been averaging about roughly $300,000 a year. And I've done millions of dollars as a content creator over the last decade, not all at once. I don't think, unless you count the value of my company, I don't think I'm a millionaire. If you count the value of my house, my company, and everything, maybe, I guess. But what I really am interested in is helping content creators make their first $1,000 to $5,000 a month, because I believe that can be life-changing money if you're a working class content creator. And for anyone who wants to go full time, I try to build strategies, systems, and frameworks that can support you, give you structure, and help you become a full-time content creator. But I also don't believe it's going to happen overnight. I don't believe that most people go viral ever. In fact, we have data around that we'll get to in a minute in terms of how many creators actually succeed. But the truth is, if you want to know how long it takes to succeed on YouTube, I went in 2013 from 2016 from 0 to 100,000 subscribers. In 2015, I had 20,000 subscribers. In February, by April of 2016, I had 100,000 subscribers. I did not go viral. I did not blow up overnight. What I did in those 3 years was I made 800 videos on YouTube. I wasn't talking about YouTube content creation. I was helping freelancers and I was teaching them video editing, photography, and software because I was a full-time freelancer. I didn't leave my 9 to 5 job to do YouTube. I transitioned to YouTube while doing full-time freelancing and being in control of my schedule. I left the 9 to 5 job to pursue freelance freedom, and then I found YouTube in the process. And I was using YouTube to grow my freelance business, then my consulting. And then because I grew successfully on YouTube, people started asking me for coaching around being a content creator. And so I shifted from working with small businesses and social media, consulting them, and even managing their social media accounts, to helping content creators go full time on YouTube and coaching them directly, and helping full time creators with their brand deals and sponsorships, or creators who are trying to go full time with their brand deals and sponsorships. So that's what happened to me. For most of you, what I would tell you is that it takes most people 5 to 7 years, if they are a working class content creator with a 40-hour-a-week job, it takes them 5 to 7 years to break away from that 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, and do YouTube. Now, when that doesn't happen, and when you see a lot of people do it very quickly, a lot of them are young. They're under 25, they're not married, they don't have any kids, and they're able to put everything into YouTube and work 40, 50, 60 hours a week on nothing but YouTube, They have different things going on in their background. Sometimes their parents help them and you don't know about it. Sometimes their significant other helps them. And those people can blow up on YouTube and grow very, very fast because they have no other responsibilities competing for their time and energy. But if you're somebody who's over 25, usually in your 30s or 40s, and you work a 9 to 5 job, 40 to 50 hours a week. You still have to come home, take care of yourself as an adult, do adult responsibilities. Maybe you even also have to wrangle, the kids. Maybe you have to spend time with a significant other in that relationship. And then what are you going to do? You have to make content with the scraps of spare time and spare energy. So if you're wondering why it takes people so long, it's because the truth is they're not really spending 5 or 7 years on YouTube. They're spending 5 or 7 years giving the scraps of their free time to YouTube. And so their scraps over 5 or 7 years add up to 2 or 3 years of real consistency. So that's what ends up happening to most people. And if they have an opportunity where they get a long vacation, or if they have the summer off, or something happens in that situation, they're able to buckle down, concentrate, and then that's when their channel really grows. And then they get a lot of opportunity. But other than that, it is a slow grind for a lot of people. But the biggest part of that slow grind is learning the basics of YouTube and learning how to do YouTube while also working a 9 to 5 job, and while also still trying to find time to do the content and still trying to have something that looks like a social life. So that's where it slows people down. And it's just important for somebody to really advocate for the working class creator and address what the lifestyle for that creator is, because what you will see on YouTube is all the creators over 10 million. And with the exception of Casey Neistat, Mark Rober, Roman Atwood, Gary Vaynerchuk, the majority of the biggest YouTubers that you'll see with like millions of subscribers are all kids in their 20s and young adults and teenagers that don't have responsibilities and don't have a lot of bills and don't have a mortgage and never had to do that 9 to 5, 40, 50-hour week career in corporate America or doing intensive labor. And so they don't have a lot competing for their energy, their attention, and their resources. But for everybody else, you do have those issues and you do have those struggles and you do have that reality. And so you can do YouTube, you can succeed, but it's very important for you to take the most productive approach that respects your limitations and your resources and your energy and availability. And so that's why I focus on the working class content creator for the most part. And then beyond that, when people move beyond that, I have content that will help them when they transition into being a middle class content creator and they're either full time or on the edge of going full time. And for the established content creator, what I do is help them take their time back by teaching them how to hire, how to bring people up in their community and bring them onto their team, how to make sure that they create the right boundaries, and how to make sure they negotiate for themselves and get very good brand deals so that they're able to buy back more of their time. The other thing is this workshop focuses specifically on the content creator who's under 20,000 subscribers. Most of you won't even be at 1,000 subscribers and haven't been monetized yet. And so the reality of YouTube and the stats you need to know going into all of this before we get into the specifics, which we will, around our topic for today, which is your YouTube channel settings and optimization, making sure you have your upload defaults right and your channel set up right, is you need to know that the overwhelming majority of YouTubers are not out here crushing it. Not everyone has a silver or gold play button, and you're not the only one struggling to grow a YouTube channel. There are only 3 million creators in the YouTube Partner Program. There are only about 3 million creators that have 10,000 subscribers in the whole wide world. And I get this data from Mr. Beast, former head of strategy, Mario Juice. He got this data by pulling reports from Social Blade. Now, we usually say because of the data from, I believe it's clearmedia.com, I believe it is, and the people who do the Nielsen ratings and have shown that YouTube has overtaken Netflix and television, we know that there's actually 115 million channels worldwide, but Social Blade doesn't track most of the channels that are under 1,000 subscribers. The last time we got data on channels under that had 1,000 subscribers or more was in 2022, and that was 10 million channels worldwide in the entire world that had 1,000 subscribers or more. Now, that was in 2022 when we got real data for that. We speculate now that that number is 14 million, but don't hold us to that. There are less than a million channels that have 50K subs. It's about 900,000 channels that have 50K subs. It's a little over 500,000 people with silver play buttons at 100K subs. About 60,000 channels have a gold play button in the entire world at 1 million subs. The channel with the most play buttons is India. The second most play buttons in the world is the United States. And the third most, believe it or not, is Brazil. Brazilian Portuguese is actually a massive language on YouTube. It's one of the big three. And so people with 10 million, even smaller amount, and so on and so forth. So you can see here that most people have a very skewed perception of YouTube success. I believe that if you can get monetized, that's a beginner level of YouTube success. If you can get to 10K subscribers, you're one of the most successful YouTubers of all time, in my opinion, because of how few people actually can accomplish that. It's not that easy. So while you still would be a small creator, a small YouTuber at 10K, you'd also be the beginning of a successful content creator if you could just get to 10K subscribers. So do understand that you don't have to be huge, you don't have to go viral, you don't have to blow up in order to be successful at YouTube. And our goal is not necessarily for you to have to make astronomical money. For a lot of you, if you could just make 100 to 500 extra dollars a month on YouTube, it would be a big improvement in your life. And it would give you an emergency fund, help you pay down some bills, maybe help you get out of debt, would be enough to help improve your lifestyle. So we have realistic goals, here with Awesome Creator Academy when it comes to YouTube success. So throughout the weeks that we've been doing this and that we'll continue to do this, and after this 12 weeks is up, we're on week 7 right now. After the 12 weeks is up, we actually have a new workshop that we'll be going into for Wednesdays that will focus on the business side of YouTube. We're going to do a 6-week intensive boot camp on the business side of YouTube. But these 15 creator fundamentals, if you guys want to screenshot this, are the ones that we find to be the most important. James C. Montgomery says, I'm at 50K subs and I feel like I peaked. It gets tough at the 50K mark, snail speed now with growth. James, I work with creators who find themselves in those situations all the time. In fact, one of the creators I worked with, he's over 100,000 now. He's going through that right now. Technically, T is talking to me about us working together again. This happens, man, and there are ways that you adapt and you play the game very differently as you move on. So if you want, you can reach out to me on X, or if you look at my YouTube community tab, I have a post where you can reach out to me about one-on-one coaching. Definitely here to help. And we will get to more of your questions. I'll just take this quick one from Chad real quick, though. Question, do you think it's a good practice to use ChatGPT to create better titles and change the title of videos that you've already published? If those videos are still getting impressions, but the click-through rate is not high, then yes, Chad on the road. I actually have a workshop. If you go into the live tab of my YouTube channel, I have a workshop. I believe it's from last year. It's got 70,000 views, I think, where we literally did a live stream where I showed you exactly how you can use ChatGPT to make better titles for your YouTube channel videos. And we went over that to improve your titles. We also did a workshop earlier, a couple of weeks ago, on titles and thumbnails. Going back and doing that, if you have nothing better to do on a weekend, is fine if you're not going to spend a lot of time on it. The best thing you can do, though, when you come up with a new title is publish a new video. The best thing you can ever do for your YouTube channel is publish a new video with the lessons that you've learned. Yeah. Oh, and mods, can we make sure that we get a link to anybody who wants to do a channel review with me? I do 30-minute channel reviews. I can also do one where instead of working with you on a live call for for 30 minutes. I can also do a recording for you for 15 minutes where I just give you my thoughts on your channel and I watch 3 minutes of one of your videos. We do that at a lower price. Mods, if we can put the channel review link in the chat. Now, for those of you who want a 90-minute deep dive strategy session where we can build out your entire strategy and action plan, I have 90-minute sessions where we go a little deeper. If you want me to look at your analytics, that's also the best session for you, is the 90-minute one if you want me to look at your analytics and to talk to you a little bit more about that. So we do offer those as well. So if we can also put the 90-minute strategy call link in the chat, that would be great. So for that, you go to www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/coaching. So these are your fundamentals, but here are the YouTube settings in a list for you. There are a lot of them. We will be covering them in the slides, and we will show you all of them in the actual interface of YouTube. Don't worry. We still plan to show you all of that. For example, over here, you can see that we have it up so we can talk to you about things like channel tags and such. So don't worry, we will be showing you a full demonstration in real time of YouTube settings. But we do think it's important for you to just even know which settings matter and to have a list. So we put together kind of a checklist here for you of what settings are important. And so just want to make sure you have that. And some of you are talking about in the chat certain things and settings in YouTube. There's a lot of superstition and myths about YouTube. We have a entire workshop where we're going to talk about YouTube mistakes and myths, and we're going to debunk a lot of those things. But just as a heads up for a lot of you, things like the file name of your videos are completely irrelevant. That is a myth that goes back to the earliest days of YouTube and something the big YouTubers used to do. I actually will tell you something in confidence here. Most of the big YouTubers do not necessarily know what they're talking about when it comes to the technical side of YouTube. They know what they're talking about when it comes to things that grow an audience. They know about editing. They know about performing. They know about entertaining. They know about viral video theory when it comes to audience psychology and how to get attention. But a lot of that is based on things that are inaccessible to all of you. Being viral is kind of rigged, and it requires a lot of things like pre-selection bias. So it's not really accessible to go viral, if I'm being honest, for most people. There are things that you can't deal with or do that play a role in going viral, and it's not as much luck as people think. When I say it's rigged, I mean that there are things so far out of your control when it comes to going viral specifically, but no one needs to be viral to be successful. As I've said, the majority of kids who do go viral, they're under 25 for a reason. Now, and when it's not that, it's status and social proof that you don't have access to. If you can break a world record, you can go viral. But most of you don't have the means, the resources, the time to break a world record. Like, most of you are not in a position to where you can get the world record for jumping on a trampoline, or most distance traveled on rollerblades. Most of you are not in a position to do that, or where you can host the largest Pokemon event with physical attendees of all time, like my friend Pat Flynn, or where you can do things like another friend of mine. She broke a world record for driving from one end of the state of Florida to another in a toy car. Like, a lot of you can't do things like that. You don't have the money, the time, the resources, or can't take extraordinary risk like that. So that's the kind of thing that allows someone to go viral, just so we're clear on that. But these are the settings that matter. But moving on, in combination, You have YouTube channel settings, which we're going to get into. You have your upload defaults. You have your individual video settings. And then you do have the settings for your YouTube community in terms of things like blocked words, your moderators, people you want to block or ban from your channel, things like that. So that's something that can definitely help you. Now, here's something that we have to just get out of the way. Do YouTube tags really matter? Do the tags on your YouTube videos really matter and get you more views on YouTube? YouTube has very confusing information. Whenever YouTube employees are asked publicly about this, they say tags don't matter that much. They say things like tags don't matter as much as they used to, or that, oh, we're not really focused on that, and you need to focus on your audience and not the algorithm. What they will not say is they will not say that tags do not matter at all, and they will not say that tags matter zero, and they will not say that they have plans to remove the tags feature from YouTube altogether. So what that means is you shouldn't focus on tags, but if you're an entertainment channel and all you care about is actions that get you the most views possible, tags is the last thing you should worry about, and you can largely skip them if you're an entertainment channel. If you are not an entertainment channel and you are doing deep information, or you're a podcast, or if you're a podcast, for example, what you should do is you should put the name of your guest and things associated with your guest and their brand and the name of their book or their business. You should put those things in your tags. In the same way that if you were making a product and you were making a book summary of a famous author's book, how would you tag that product in Amazon? So that matters if you're a podcast. If you're an education-based channel, there are things that you should probably be putting in your description. But if you're an entertainment channel and you're just doing entertainment content, or you're doing vlogs, it really doesn't matter. If you're just some goofy kid on YouTube trying to get as many views as possible, tags will not save you and they don't matter that much. Just put your channel name and put the title of your video, put your alternative titles that you would A/B test in the video in the tags, and be done with it and move on with your life, because it's not the most important thing. The most important thing for getting views on YouTube are basically and exclusively your topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. And if you're worried about optimization, discovery, and SEO, then it's mostly your titles, your timestamps, and your transcript of your video. If instead of worrying about your YouTube tags, if you're really worried about discovery and how YouTube's algorithm is working, then you should work on your script, and you should script your videos if you're worried about the YouTube algorithm. If I was worried about the YouTube algorithm, I would script all of my videos. The reason I say that is that the transcript of your video is how YouTube is judging your video and what it's about, and whether you're a liar when you write a title for that video. If you write a title that YouTube doesn't understand, and it doesn't relate to the transcript of your video, and it's not verified by things like the timestamps, if you're going to do that. And why do we know that that's true? Because in YouTube search itself, timestamps are highlighted in YouTube search and search results when you search on YouTube. Also in Google search results, timestamps matter. Do the descriptions matter? They matter in search a little bit, but more for the context that they give the viewer, not the algorithm. But they certainly don't hurt if your description is accurate and matches things that would be in your transcript and things that relate to your title. It's one more verification that you're not a liar and that you're not clickbaiting videos. So if you want to know how the YouTube algorithm works when it comes to this, it's not about tags, although the tags could help you. They don't help you at that much. They're just one more verification method. But the most important verification method is between the title and the transcript and the timestamps. But anything else you can use to verify that you're not a liar in the way that you titled your video would be incredibly helpful. A basic rule of YouTube in general is do not lie and do not try to trick people and do not try to trick the audience. Do not try to trick the algorithm. So what YouTube cares about is it analyzes the transcripts of your videos. Now, why is it I know that and we're not guessing? Because we know that because you get demonetized for excessive cursing in the first 30 seconds of your video, and YouTube has said that as a matter of policy, and YouTube employees have said it on interviews and on their official YouTube channels and on the official Twitter account, the official X account. They have said that, and we know that you get demonetized for cursing excessively in the first 30 seconds of your videos. We know, regardless of what your title is, that if the video itself has explicit material and explicit language, that you get demonetized and you get age gated. So we know for a fact that the algorithm uses the transcript of your video undeniably to be able to verify your content. And we know that it's comparing that also with what the title of your video is, because we know that titles of videos can get you flagged in YouTube, get you age gated, get you restricted, and get you demonetized. So if we know that a title can get you demonetized, we know the algorithm cares about that and that determines views, and that's kind of obvious. It's also what people as human beings will click on. And the transcript of your video is the actual content. The transcript's the actual content. And so we know that the transcript can get you demonetized. So that's why we know the transcript matters for also controlling what views you get by determining from the transcript, well, what's the topic about? Who's the audience? Would they care about it? Are they allowed to watch this? Do we have to age restrict it? So we know that undeniably. And we know that timestamps matter because we know that they show up in YouTube search and we see them show up in Google searches. So hopefully that answers the question once and for all. And you guys can tell me in the comment section, you can tell me in the chat how you feel about this. Do you feel like I answered once and for all? Do tags really matter in YouTube? Do you feel like you finally have an answer when it comes to that question about do tags matter in YouTube and what really decides the algorithm? There's a question from Marcus from the UK. Roberto, what about family-friendly videos that do not have talking or subtitles, just ambient sounds? Marcus, I don't know as much about that in comparison to, say, ASMR videos. But Marcus, I'm not sure that those get thousands upon thousands of views in YouTube. But if it's something you want to make, then I would make it and not worry about it too much. But to my knowledge, aside from I think it's Google and Doodle, that no one gets massive views doing that particular type of content, to my knowledge. So that's an edge case, and I don't really know. And an edge case is not really productive to a broader workshop for people under 20,000 subscribers. And it's no offense. If you want me on Friday to do a channel review, you can submit a channel review for the public channel reviews on Friday. If you want me to look at an edge case like that and give my thoughts on it, I can also do a little research for that particular thing in advance. But almost no one's going to make those videos. And to my knowledge, they don't have a large viewer base. So it's very hard for me to say how those videos apply to this. With regard to search instead of recommended and the difference there, I wouldn't focus on recommended or suggested videos aside from the YouTube homepage, because the YouTube homepage is where most people decide to click on videos. Recommended or suggested is where they click on videos after they're already watching something else, which means it's going to mean related content, or what YouTube identifies to be related content. That's why I say things like the transcript, things like playlist descriptions, playlist descriptions themselves, and also, more importantly, just viewer crossover between channels is going to decide what shows up in recommended for the next video from the watch, but also their own previous watch history And if you're not making entertainment content, it really doesn't matter for this particular thing, to be honest with you. So for non-entertainment content, I wouldn't even worry about suggested videos if I'm being honest with you. I would focus on the YouTube homepage and search. And if you get views from suggested videos, it will most likely be your own video content because the suggested videos algorithm is based on previous watch history almost exclusively of what they were watching before and what's in their watch history and what's recommended to them. So that is what matters for that. And you have very little control over their previous watch history or influencing it outside of your own content. So there's not much point in worrying about the suggested or recommended videos. I think that most of you especially if you're under 1 million subscribers, should exclusively be focusing on the homepage and getting people to click from the homepage feed and getting people to click from searches. I would not worry about suggested and recommended because you don't have control over the viewer's previous watch history other than conditioning. Big entertainment YouTubers worry about it, but they can because that's where they get it. They get it because they all do collaborations with each other. They have reaction videos as a pipeline for that. Most of you working class content creators, you have no access to really benefit that much from the suggested algorithm at all aside from your own video content because you don't control and have a way to manipulate the engagement around previous watch history. A commentary channel might, though, a news channel might, but if you're not doing news or commentary, most of you shouldn't worry about it. And again, to get through the presentation and the other settings, we'll go through some of these questions a little bit later this evening. We'll move on to some of the direct channel settings. Now, for a lot of you, the channel keywords trip a lot of you up and you don't know what to put in your channel keywords. We've talked about content strategy in the past, and we've talked about your content pillars. What I would do if I were most of you, and this is how I would approach your channel keywords. The channel keywords, not to be confused with YouTube tags, but your channel keywords, what I would do is we've talked about your content pillars and how those will be the featured playlist on your YouTube channel. I would take the themes of your featured playlist that make up your content pillars, and I would also take the alternative phrasing or wording of those things, and I would make those your channel keywords along with your name, your brand. If you have a company or a business like I do, you would do that. If you have brands that you own, like for example, my newsletter is called the Creator Economy Insider. It's also the name of the book series that I write in terms of my books. Create Something Awesome Today is my podcast. Create Something Awesome is the name of my book. So I use Awesome Creator Academy as my company. So I use my company names, the assets and brands that I own and the publication that I have in my channel keywords because I want those things associated with me. They are my brand. There are things, if you have things that you've trademarked, maybe you put those things in there. And then my featured playlists that are on my YouTube homepage, I'm using the names mostly of my featured playlist as the keywords associated with my channel as far as my channel keywords. So the things that I talk about the most, my content pillars, which for most of you will probably be 6 topics, could be up to 12. Those featured playlists on my YouTube homepage are also my channel keywords. That's how I associate with them. But I also use my name and the name of my companies and brands because those things are assets that are associated with me and it's important for my brand. So that's what your channel keywords should be, in my opinion. So that's something that I think can be very important for a lot of you. Now, one of the most important settings that will help or hurt you is the audience setting for your videos, and also at a channel level in terms of, is your channel and your content or your video made for kids or not made for kids? All of you basically need to default to know it's not made for kids because of something called COPPA that the government did, the Child Online Privacy and Protection Act. Basically, if you want your channel to make money and be monetized and you don't want all of your channel videos to be age gated and age restricted, just select no, it's not made for kids. Channel customization. Now we're going to show this on the channel itself in a bit, but basically you want to be intentional about your YouTube channel homepage. You want to pick a trailer for people that haven't subscribed to your channel yet. Usually for me, I pick a video that's doing very well in terms of turning viewers into subscribers, and I put that there for people who haven't subscribed. And then for people who have subscribed, I put something there that is a binge watchable video that's either a very long video that I know that they would want and that they would care about, or something that I think is really helpful for my subscribers to watch. Or even for my subscribers, if there's a video that I've done that's more of a personal update. Primary example is probably this summer, I'm going to start doing um channel/life updates about what's going on and how, and they'll be done in a vlog like style, but a infotainment vlog like style, where once a month, probably starting in the summer for the year, I'm going to make a life update while I'm traveling somewhere and shoot as a vlog to also let you know what to expect from the channel, what's going on with my business, what's going on in my life. I'm going to shoot those as a vlog, and those will be more personal videos for the subscribers and the viewers that are loyal, basically people like you who watch the live streams. Those will probably be the featured videos for my returning subscribers, and I'll update that frequently because it's a way to keep up with what's going on with me. In a more personal way, if you're subscribed, you probably are a little more invested, hopefully. So that's why I would do that. So strategically, you want a video that could turn viewers into subscribers if they are not subscribed already, that gives them a ton of value or a great experience or is really fun. And then for your returning subscribers, I would put something there that lets them go a little deeper or meets their expectations or something they haven't seen from you. So those are things you can do. Most people, they'll just put the video that they want to get views on there. I go deeper and say, no, I'm thinking about what's valuable to the viewer specifically when I post those videos there. Other than that, you can post individual playlist that kind of direct your audience. We have a playlist that I say is for people who are new here, start with this. And then we have something here like a way that I organize these live streams that we do for the workshop. And this one is the 12-week workshop for beginners. So since I want people to be able to find these videos and watch them in order, I promote that playlist on the homepage. So just be very intentional about your homepage layout. It's very important. So ad category settings. This setting is actually very important for some of you because some of you, there's content that you don't want your audience to see. For me, for example, I don't want them seeing ads that I think are get rich quick schemes or scams. I don't want them seeing political content before they watch my videos or interrupting them while they watch my videos. So I block all of those things. Some people say, well, I'm missing out on money if I don't get as many advertisers as possible. That's not been my experience. My experience is that by blocking these ads, I'm getting better ones. So I block ads that I don't think matter to my audience. And it's worked out really well for me so far. And then you also can put in URLs of companies and people that you don't want advertising. So if you don't want your competitors advertising, if you're a company or a brand, you don't want your competitors advertising, put their URL in there. If there's something that you think is offensive to your audience or doesn't match your values, put the URL in there and don't let them advertise on your channel. Me, I blocked all the bloody politicians. So upload defaults. Upload defaults could be really helpful because if you stress out and you worry about your tags, you could just throw your defaults in there and be done with it and never worry about it again, if I'm being honest. So for those of you who stress about your tags, you could just put a handful of tags, maybe 10 of them in your default uploads, and you can put things like your name, your channel name, your main topics, few features of how your content plays out, whatever. Pick 10 of them, put them in there. They're the same on every video by default now, and you'll never have to worry about tags again if you don't want to stress out about tags and you don't, you can't figure out using TubeBuddy or vidIQ or anything like that. Just fill out this in the default uploads and never look at it ever again for the rest of your life. Now, for visibility, I always plug this with being private by default for all of my videos. And the reason is so that I can review a video before it goes public, and it can never go public by accident if I have it set to private at the very beginning. If your videos deal with a lot of copyright material and third-party sources, and you're not sure if it's going to get copyright claimed, go ahead and set it to private and upload it 12 to 24 hours in advance to make sure that YouTube clears it. That way you're not freaking out about, oh my God, I'm demonetized and now I have to take the video down or anything like that. So this can be incredibly helpful to you to set this as a default for your default uploads. Now, when you upload an individual video, it's important to make sure you declare whether it has paid promotion in the settings. If you manage to do that, then it can help with notifying the audience. You still have to verbally disclose and disclose in the description, but it can make the audience aware that it's sponsored content, and it'll make sure you're complying with the FTC guidelines. Altered content. This is the AI content settings. You need to disclose to YouTube if you are doing things that are driven by AI that alter your content in significant ways. When they say makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't, what they're referring to is deep fakes. So the same thing for altering an image of a real place or event, like the Eiffel Tower or the Chrysler Building. Generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. So fake news. It doesn't want you doing fake news. So as long as you're not doing deep fakes, essentially, don't worry about it. If you're using AI to edit the silence out of your videos, or to clean up your audio and noisy background, or to do some basic green screen where you're not trying to do like you're in another country, but you're trying to make sure you do a fake office or something like that, or just an open field, then it doesn't matter and you don't have to check this box. They don't really care about that. That's not really what they're looking for here. So if that's all you're doing, then don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And so this only really applies in more extreme situations. AI auto dubbing for your channel. YouTube is using AI to help dub your content for viewers in other languages. So, you can control this and decide whether or not you want to review it. And so that can be helpful. Let's see. So when it comes to this, the good news for this is that you could increase your overall reach without doing anything extra. There are a lot of channels that are benefiting from this. I find that it benefits faceless channels the most because the AI auto dubbing doesn't have to worry about other context like matching the voice, matching the face or the lip movements or anything like that. So I feel this benefits faceless channels the most. So that's it, at least for the slide presentations. Make sure you're checking out awesomecreatoracademy.com/join to see what we do in the Academy Pro group. Make sure you're going to get the slides. We have the link for you in the description. We're going to move on to answering a couple of your questions, and then we're going to move on to showing you settings in the back end of YouTube and where these things are located and answering some of your questions around that. So tonight's workshop is probably going to be a 90-minute workshop, but maybe 2 hours at the most when we get through it. But this one, I think, was really to the point and helpful about these being the settings that matter, these being the things you need to change. We are going to go through, like I said, the back end, and I will show you video channel details, things like descriptions and timestamps and such, things like tags and all these other things that you could want to do, um, as well as the settings that are used on my channel and why I use them, the ones I turn on, the ones I turn off, why I do that, and so on. And so you're going to get to see those on the back end. You get a glance at it here, and I'll let you ask some questions about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the form, and we're going to go to the chat, and we're going to try to answer some of your questions that you already have. And we're going to just see what you guys have to say and get through those. So let me bring that up here. And thank you to the mods for making sure we have the form and we have the question tracker. So let's see here. So, oh, what I opened to get echo. Oh, I just turned off mute there. So Zolo Q says, "Hey Roberto, are you going to go over playlist settings? I just discovered them. Do they actually have an impact?" So playlist settings are interesting. They can have an impact for to some degree if the playlist is searchable. If this playlist is searchable, or if it's the type of thing that would get recommended to people based on their previous watch history of your channel or other channels, then yes. But your ability to control the recommendation side of that is minimal. So don't obsess over it, but do just be mindful and thoughtful of it and treat a playlist to some degree the way you might treat a video. So write a good title for it that makes sense, that the audience would respond to and say, oh, I can make that a priority or a preference, and then a description that makes sense that would entice them to want to watch these things and make it clear to them what their expectations should be. Your videos should all really focus on um, getting a viewer's attention, and then everything should also then be about honestly setting expectations for them and not lying to them. And again, I'm not accusing you guys of trying to lie to viewers for getting the sake of getting views, but you know what I mean. It's easy to just listen to big YouTubers out of context. And when you listen to big YouTubers out of context, sometimes bad things happen and you can mistake what they're saying. I'm not saying they're trying to get you to trick people or that they're tricking people. I'm just saying that in the race for attention and anything for views, things get taken out of context. So the best policy is, how can I make sure I'm creating value for the viewer at a glance? And how can I set their expectations so that I never disappoint them and I always deliver? As long as that's your mindset in how you approach everything on YouTube, all of these best practices, all these optimization things we're talking about, they stop being tricks, tactics, and gimmicks, and they start being an intentional strategy that allows you to create value for your viewers, be a value first creator who is doing everything they can to excite and delight their audience and deliver on the expectations that they set instead of letting people down. So use everything that you approach in YouTube to set expectations and or boundaries, and all will be well. Again, it's not by all that will be well. I don't mean you'll go viral, but I do mean that you'll have a healthy relationship with your content and your audience. Terry W. question is, optimizing playlist names help YouTube find your audience? You have an old video on it, but maybe irrelevant now. It's not really irrelevant. It's just that there are some channels or types of channels or styles of content that it benefits. For example, this really benefits a lot of channels that do music. It benefits channels that do ASMR. It benefits product review channels a lot. Um, Not as many benefit to channels in narrow business niche style content, but it doesn't mean to ignore it. But it can benefit search if your playlist has a reason to appear in Google. A primary example will be optimizing this workshop playlist. There are reasons for that. So that could be helpful. Um, Salon guy. Hey Roberto, are auto chapters different than timestamps? Auto chapters create timestamps for you, but YouTube is taking its best guess with its AI tools, which are largely built on Gemini, to guess at what your intentions are and what good chapters would be. I would not let YouTube's AI, Gemini, guess at that at this point right now. Google's AI, which is Gemini AI, guess at that right now. I would just do what I would do is probably take your transcript, download that from YouTube, upload it to ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok, then tell ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok as an AI to make timestamps for you, tell it what intervals you want, and have it make sense and explain why it did what it did to you. And if you do that, then you will get better timestamp chapters for your videos. I will probably do a tutorial video in the next couple of weeks on YouTube chapters and timestamps, because as much as it seems like it's an obvious video, at this point, I'm thinking of literally doing YouTube basics down to as something as simple as how to make a thumbnail, how to upload a video to YouTube, how to delete a video from YouTube. I'm literally thinking I might have to make something that basic, because so much of it is out of date at this point for people, and people don't like to watch videos that are 4 or 5 years old. Even if they were accurate, they assume that they're not. There's such thing as recency bias. So I'm just going to make tutorials since no one else is going to do it. No one over 100K wants to make tutorials on the most basic things for YouTube, so I'll do it. Um, because I think it's important to make videos that say, maybe you guys really do need a step-by-step tutorial that's under 10 or 12 minutes that shows you everything you need to do to set up a YouTube playlist. Maybe you need a tutorial that's 8 to 12 minutes that shows you how to set up your timestamps and how to use AI tools to generate those timestamps more effectively, so you don't have to watch through the video or do it manually. Maybe that's a video you guys need with step-by-step instructions. So I'm okay with doing that, if as long as you guys tell me it's something that you actually need. Um, but those things can be important. I don't necessarily trust YouTube doing the auto chapters. It doesn't have to do them if I go ahead and give it those timestamps for these live streams. The mods are great at doing the timestamps for me by watching throughout the stream. So thank you to the mod squad. Salute. So yeah, so I would do things like that. His and Hers Holy Hour podcast. So for podcast, it matters only if you have guests. I was using that as a specific example. For tags for podcast, I think it is important, if you have guests, to do the tags with the guest name and description specifically and explicitly, but also because YouTube, if you make a podcast playlist, it becomes important, because when your podcast exports from YouTube to YouTube Music for podcasting, those tags are going to be treated differently than they just would be by the YouTube algorithm, because it's now part of the podcast distribution and the podcast algorithm. So that's very different. Those tags and things about who your guests are, their name, their book, their brand, all those things, handled very differently on podcasting than it is on YouTube video. So you might as well do it there, and you might as well treat it like it matters. But that also shouldn't give anyone anxiety like they do about tags for their entertainment videos. If you're a vlogger, don't worry about tags. If you're a YouTube gamer, just put the name of your game in there. Just put the name of the game, put the name of the brand or company the game is affiliated with and from, put your channel name, put your video title name in there, and just be done with it and move on with your life. Like, if you're a gamer, don't worry about tags. Like, because most of the problems, if you're a gamer, don't worry about tags. If you're a vlogger, don't worry about tags. If you're a prank channel, don't worry about tags. There, that solves most of the people who have anxiety about this issue, that it doesn't help, that want to get views, and they're like, "Oh, tags don't matter." It's like, fine, if you're a gamer, don't worry about tags. If you're a vlogger, don't worry about tags. If you are a prank channel, don't worry about tags. If you're a comedy and sketch comedy channel, don't worry about tags. If you're an artist and you draw, don't worry about tags. The end. But for the rest of you, if you're categorizing something because you're a channel that does product reviews, go ahead and put the name of your product and the name of the product. If it's a camera, go ahead and put, okay, DJI Osmo Action 5. Put DJI Action Cam. Put DJI cameras. Put all those things that are descriptors, just like it would be in Amazon. You just literally put the same product descriptors that you would if you were selling this thing on Amazon in there or eBay in there, because that contextually does matter. So, but again, for entertainment people who do gaming, pranks, comedy, vlogs, sketch, and art, irrelevant. Salon Guy says, Roberto, do the 3 hashtags and keywords at the top of the description do anything anymore? The hashtags have a physical function in YouTube, but I can't guarantee that it gets you more views or more attention or more descriptions. But it does relate you to videos who use similar hashtags. So it could affect suggested to some degree, but only in a niche where people would have and care about those hashtags, which means that is a type of content that has an audience that's more also used to watching content on Instagram and on TikTok. If they're not, if it's not a crossover culturally with that, and if there's not content that it matters to be suggested or recommended alongside, and you don't know that and you can't guarantee that it has views, then worrying about it gives you anxiety for no reason, and I wouldn't bother. Because most of these things that you guys worry about, even if they mattered, they cannot matter more than 5 or 10%. The best case scenario, if these things mattered all together, more than your topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, your topic, title, thumbnail, and timing is going to do 50 to 80% of all of the work. Your transcript is going to do whatever is left, and the most marginal amount of anything that hashtags, tags, and descriptions could possibly do for you is squeeze another 5% out of views. That's it. Hashtags, description, tags, playlist, the most you could possibly do, and you're agonizing over if you did all of those things, is squeeze another 5% of views out of it. That's it. It doesn't matter that much. I promise you. So it's not worth worrying about. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they don't do anything because that's not accurate. I'm going to say that you literally just have to make a better bloody title on a topic people actually care about and a thumbnail that they can't look away from like it's a bloody train wreck or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and be relevant in terms of your timing, and have a title that triggers them to where they're really excited or they hate your guts and they have to spend this next hour watching your video and feuding for 3 hours with everybody in the comments. That's it. That's all that matters. All that matters is viewer psychology and you optimizing the hell out of your hashtags, your tags, your description has nothing to do with viewer psychology. Your description matters for searchable tutorial content to validate the title and thumbnail and that it's relevant. It's not about an algorithm moose then it's about not deceiving the viewer and meeting expectations. Everything you guys should be doing should never be about hacking the algorithm. It should be about, don't worry about hacking the algorithm. Worry about seducing the audience. It's really that straightforward. I'm not saying it's easy because, like, there's a reason I don't go viral. It's like I do well enough, but it's like I don't pick viral topics anyway. But the key to it is you have to be able to attract and interest a viewer, and your content cannot get views that the idea behind the video doesn't qualify for. If you make a video in English about a game, let's say you make a video about Armored Core 6, it's a video game. Your video cannot get more views than there are English speaking players for Armored Core 6 that are logged into YouTube when you upload it that week. You cannot get more views than the game has players that speak English, and you cannot get more views than those people exist that are logged into YouTube at any given time. That's why picking the right idea is the almost entirely the only thing that matters. I hope everyone understands that. Does that make sense when I say it? There's no optimization you can do that can trick the audience into caring about something that they don't care about unless you're going to lie to them and manipulate them and clickbait your videos, which is wrong and you shouldn't do it. So everything should be about appealing to and attracting the audience and then delivering on the expectations that you set for them so that they don't feel tricked, deceived, or betrayed. Beating Draw says, does the AI auto dubbing keep your actual voice but adjust the words being saved to the language other than the native language? No, it has an AI generated voice, and they try to adjust for tonality, intention, and sentiment. But it's not necessarily going to sound like you, but in another language. It's going to not be quite as good as the Netflix dubs in other language if you watch Korean dramas or what have you. Katie Ukulele says, should we be watching the creator insider videos on YouTube Studio? Do those have valuable info for small creators? For the news updates, absolutely. The news updates on that are actually good. They let you know when new features are coming out. They let you know about policy changes. I do deep dives on those things sometimes here. So when they do that, I then try to give a lot deeper context because they're doing it as quick as possible. Diamond Hunter Enterprises says, Roberto, did you cover checking the notify subs box when growing a small channel yet? I'm at a bar in Beverly Hills. I will cover that here as we go into the back end of the channel. So I will be covering that. Diamond Hunter Enterprise says, Roberto, I heard that adding playlist at end screens with SEO and meta titles works well when growing channels. It can for some channels, and it doesn't mean anything for others. If you just make an end card and there's not a good emotional handoff at the end of the video, it doesn't matter. If you don't get people to watch the end of the video, it doesn't matter. So the thing is, a lot of people are obsessing about end cards, but they get less than 10% of their audience to the end of a video anyway. So why are you worried about end cards? If you're getting 20 to 30% or more of your audience to get to the end of a video, then end cards can matter. But if you're not doing a verbal call out for those end cards, then it doesn't matter at all. So in optimizing for end cards, one, it only matters if people are getting to the end of the video in the first place. And then number two, then you have to do a verbal call out. And then three, the verbal call out has to be good and it has to have specific value that you already primed them for in the main video. So since people are not strategic and intentional and their end cards are an afterthought, most of you aren't scripting your videos, most of you don't write outlines for your videos, and most of you don't have a video to video flow because you're making individual random videos that you care about, not videos that are structured. And this is not to attack anyone, but it's to make a point. Most of you are not making intentional videos to begin with. Everything you do is an afterthought. Your title's an afterthought. You made the video you wanted to make. Now you're struggling to package it. You didn't start with the end in mind. You didn't start with the packaging in mind. You didn't start with a thumbnail idea. You didn't start with the idea. You didn't start with a title. You didn't start with a vision for the thumbnail and why people would click on that. And you didn't think about the hook for the video in the beginning. You didn't think for the follow through to an end card to hand them off to another video or playlist at the end. You guys don't usually think your videos out. You make something you like or excited about or are passionate about, and then you try to cobble together all the optimization after the fact. And then you look for YouTube tips to try to help you polish unpolished content. And you expect the passion to carry you through because most big YouTubers lie to you about passion. They tell you about making content they're passionate about when they literally sat there and they didn't film the video until they had 5 thumbnail ideas for the video, 3 alternative titles for the video, and poured over their spreadsheet with me. That's what these million and 10 million creators are doing. And then they're telling you about luck or passion. And then you're not planning your videos. They have entire teams and departments planning their videos a month in advance. And they're telling you about passion and luck while they're planning and preparing everything before they even shoot. And they know what they're going to say at the end of the video. They know what video they're going to promote next. They know what hook they're going to do for the first 5 to 8 seconds to draw you in. They've been thinking about the sound design of their video for 2 weeks. Or their sound design editor that they hired that you can't afford did. So big YouTubers are telling all of you about passion and spontaneity and authenticity, and they're all sitting there with the equivalent of a media company writing scripts, agonizing over them second by second of edits and value, and planning massive scale thumbnail photo shoots before the video is even shot. And they're telling you about passion, and they're telling you about making what you like or what you would watch. Meanwhile, they're going through the process of a TV writer's room to make their content. So if you're going to think about end cards and end card strategy, you can't just throw a playlist or a video in there at the end without thinking about it. You need to begin with the end in mind if you're going to do that and worry about that strategy. You need to script your video so you script an ending. You need to optimize your video so that 20 to 30% of the viewers are still watching at the end of the video so it actually matters that you have an end card. And then you need an end card that those diehard fans will actually care about, and you need a way to sell it to them in under 10 seconds. So if you're not doing all that, what end card you choose, whatever metadata you put in the end card, it doesn't matter if you can't get people to care about it. And if you can't get people to click on it, it doesn't matter. So you see what I mean? This is part of why we're going through the workshop is you guys need to know this. You need to know that you cannot really and truly luck your way through YouTube. The people who tell you they luck their way through YouTube, there are some people who might get quote unquote lucky. And guess what? If they're a guy, they're 6 feet tall and they have symmetrical face structure and probably usually a great smile and a hell of a lot of confidence and charisma because they've been 6 feet tall their life if they got lucky. If they're a woman and they got lucky on YouTube, they're probably attractive and in their early 20s. When's the last time you saw a man or woman in their 60s blow up on YouTube for no good reason in their first 5 uploads? When's the last time you saw that happen? And I'm not trying to be mean and I'm not trying to stereotype, but I'm being blunt and honest with you about the fact that the idea that YouTube is luck and that's random is a scam because people don't want to admit that they have unfair, disproportionate advantages that are in common and not unique. If it was random luck, the biggest YouTubers wouldn't all look and sound the same and make similar content, and largely they do. To the point to where we can literally only name a handful of YouTubers with 10 million subscribers that are in their 40s. It's all kids under 25 or under 30 for the most part, and we all know their names. Rare exceptions exist outside of that. We know this. And the thing is, the biggest male YouTubers, almost all of them are 6 feet tall. I'm not even joking about this. If you're a guy with if you're a guy with 2 million, 5 million, 10 million subscribers on YouTube, you are 6 feet tall, except for Joe Rogan. Those are things that are there. I'm not saying that you can't succeed outside of that scope. I'm making a point about the homogeny of factors around success and that you cannot optimize your way to some hack that outweighs all of those things. That's all I'm saying. Um, Jesse Chaplin says, question, completely off track, but someone has been talking about editing. Has anything been said about remixes being opened to 3 minutes for longer shorts? I'm not sure about the remixes themselves. I do know that shorts are 3 minutes. I am not sure if remixes of shorts are 3 minutes. I'd have to ask one of my contacts at YouTube about that, unless somebody knows or can point me to the Google help file that specifies that, because I'm not sure about remixes. I usually avoid them. Avoid copyright. Um, Cool Breeze says, so if I ran an anime channel, should I worry about tags? I would just put the name of the anime, the show. If the showrunner is famous like Akira Toriyama, or if it's Oda or somebody like that, sure, you put it in there. Put the main characters and be done with it. Just take the Amazon approach. If you cover YouTube, if you cover anime, TV shows, or movies, the way you should handle tags is the way that Amazon and Netflix handles tags. If you're doing anime, TV shows, movies, then you should handle it the way that Netflix and Amazon handle those things. Oh, we've got a super chat here from our friend Terry W. Question, is there anything to be concerned about with allowing remixing, specifically someone using your content in a way you didn't intend or roasting you? If you are concerned about that, then just make sure you check the box that doesn't allow them to do that, and the problem largely solves itself. But if you're doing professional business content, Terry, you usually don't have to worry about it too much. That's usually in the realm of entertainers. Yeah, there are trolls and people out there, but if you're doing legitimate business content, which I think we talked about, you're doing very specific content for your company, then you shouldn't have to worry about that. But just uncheck the box that allows remix of your content, and it should be fine. Um, Saint Whisper says, what do you think about shorts live streams and how could you get YouTube to recommend? Shorts live streams, you mean vertical live streams. Focus on your title for those. And basically, that's it, is focus on your title and the topic being something people actually care about. For vertical live streams, it's either gaming, like, for example, I coached Juicy J. When vertical live stream came out, he plays a vertical video game, um, Clash Royale. He's a Clash Royale world champion. He's over 300,000 subscribers. He gets massive views. So I worked with Juicy J as a gaming channel. He's playing a vertical game that is competitive, and he can climb ladder, and he's been a world champion at the game, and he's won tournaments. So it makes sense for him to do a vertical live stream. If you're not doing something like that, or you're not doing spicy political commentary or something like that, vertical, or you're not doing a yapping stream that people care about with spicy topics, then it usually isn't like that fruitful to just do a vertical live stream to do a vertical live stream. They don't just arbitrarily get views, they get opportunities and reach because they're in the vertical feed. But if you can't convince people to stop swiping and to stay on your stream, it doesn't matter. And the things that work for that are mostly commentary, dating, um, gaming, and politics. So that's, if you're not really doing that, I don't really see much of the point. Or if you're doing IRL content, yeah, those things for a vertical live stream. If you're not doing that, I don't really see the point. Um, in terms of getting views, you're not going to hack views by optimizing it. You have to make people care, and there are things people care about and things people don't. And most of you, the thing you have to get through, most of you, what you have to get across and get through your head, or what I'm hoping is starting to sink into you, is you guys cannot just optimize your way to more views. You have to choose to make content based on what people care about, and you have to understand what people care about by understanding human behavior and psychology and choosing your audience intentionally. And you have to understand, if you like, why you may not have been the popular kid at the lunchroom in school, and why, if you want to grow on YouTube, you're gonna have to now figure that out. You have to understand what people want and be a person who gives it to them. Now, if you just want to make what you want to make, then you have to accept the views that you're going to get for that and learn to live with it. If all you want is to express yourself, then you're optimizing for expression. You're not optimizing for building a company. You're not optimizing for building a business. You're not optimizing for building the biggest brand possible. And you're not optimizing for being a full-time content creator. And I'm not telling you to be inauthentic. I'm telling you that if the most important thing to you is to express yourself and to have fun and to be an artist and to make what you want to make, what you have is a hobby, not a business. And unless you are just fortunate enough to where that attracts people and people care, it's unlikely that you will be a full-time content creator. The people who feel YouTube is luck are the people who were themselves, but were attractive both in terms of usually physicality and their personality was attractive for a YouTube audience or an internet audience or social media audience, whether it worked in real life at school or college or in the dating world or whatever. They came to a community where they were an attractive commodity and it worked out for them. So they think it's luck. But what it was attraction working for them. It was that there were people who gravitated toward them organically without them having in their mind to make any other effort than showing up. That is rare. It's not lucky. It is rare. It is chemistry, is what it is. Okay. And that happens. It's chemistry, confidence, charisma. That happens. So people who are the beneficiaries of chemistry, confidence, and charisma will say that that is luck because they didn't plan, strategize, and be intentional about it. But it's not that it's luck per se. It is a very fortunate circumstance for them. And you can say, oh, it's right place, right time. But the thing is, it's actually the right characteristics. Because if they didn't have the confidence to show up, then the luck wouldn't be there. Confidence breeds success, not luck, meaning shooting your shot. People don't get lucky enough to win games they don't play in the first place. If you don't play the game, there's no luck to be had. So that's why I say it's not luck. Because there's not luck in choosing to play the game. That's a confidence issue. You can't win a game you don't play. Therefore, I throw the luck out. What I will say is not everyone naturally understands how to navigate social situations and how to attract attention, cultivate interest, and build loyalty. If you don't understand those things, it's okay because you can work at that. I wasn't a good public speaker. I was terrible at public speaking. When I started, I was terrible at YouTube when I started because I wasn't confident on camera. Confidence can be built, charisma can be learned, and chemistry can be engineered. So Catchkin says, do you think reaction videos are a good way to get more views? I'm mostly doing vlogs surrounding college at the moment. I don't think I'm a good entertainer. Yikes. If I was in college and from your name and I can't see your, let's see. If I was a young woman in college and I was doing vlogs, I wouldn't call them vlogs. I would make a lifestyle channel and I would make a lifestyle channel that reflects the college experience and my life, and I would make it cinematic, and I would do storytelling, and I wouldn't just do vlogs, "Oh, here's what I eat in a day," or anything like that. I would specifically do things around the college experience, make it cinematic, and I would also probably be doing woman on the street content, talking to other college students about their college experience or asking them about current events, and then my entire college channel would be about the college experience and being a young person and learning how to be a Gen Z adult, and I would make it about that, and I would talk about my experiences. For inspiration in general, even though she's a millennial like me, and now she's post-college and all these things, if you want to go and see an example of stylistically some content that you could look at doing, look at Shelby Church in terms of a good content style for narrative and cinematic content around topics of interest lifestyle wise. But understand that she's not making content about her life in college because she's post college. But use it as inspiration. I'm not in college, so I'm older than that, so I don't watch college YouTubers, but the thing is you just need to go and find someone who makes lifestyle content about their life in college. But you can watch other lifestyle creators even if they're not in college. And I would just become a lifestyle creator that and I would focus on the experience of being in college, doing these things. And then when you get out of college, you do things about um, you know, finding apartments, cost of living, building a career, setting your life up, the aesthetics of decorating your first apartment, all those things, and you let people grow up with you, and then you make a channel around lifestyle and building the life that you want as a Gen Z adult, and then you move on from there. Um, that's how you would build a good brand, an authentic brand um, while you're in college. If you're a guy, you would do the same thing, but you would focus on things that guys are interested in, and you would do also some man on the street content, some nightlife content, some things like that. You would try, if it was me, I would say you try and keep it wholesome and you try and show what your values are, and you put that out into the world, and then you're attracting people based on vibe and that have shared values. So the thing is, the way you attract an audience, and we talked about this throughout the workshop, is you get like-minded people who share your interests, but you get like-hearted people that share your values. And that's how you learn to attract people, because the filtering mechanism, the filter and the funnel and the law of attraction is we can have an interest in the same thing, but do we feel the same way about it? Because what we feel in terms of we are interested in that thing, but do our values align in how we see that thing? Do we have the same values? So we might intellectually be in the same headspace, but are we in the same heart space? Like-minded people is hard enough to find. Like-hearted people is almost impossible a lot of times. So you filter down to, you can have a community that is like-minded, but your core of your community will be people who are like-hearted. So people can share your interest, but the real key is, do they share your values? And the thing is, your brand will be stronger if you're attracting people on values and not just interest. And you'd be surprised what could happen there. And so then you have a stronger loyalty audience if you do that. So again, if I was a guy, a Gen Z guy, Gen Z girl in college, I'd be making lifestyle content about my college experiences. It would also serve as a kind of a public journal, but I wouldn't do it vlog thematically. I would do it with a vlog like aesthetic. I would adopt a Casey Neistat vlog like aesthetic, but these would be narrative videos sometimes as one part of the pillar of the content that is about our shared experiences as a generation. And so I could be the time capsule or sitcom for my generation of, this is what life was like if you were a Gen Z adult. And then, see, what I wish is, I wish that when I lived in New York when I was 24, 25, and I was working in Manhattan and living in Brooklyn, I wish I had just actually back then vlogged a couple of times a week and shared what my life was like, because it would have set up my brand perfectly. I'd be much bigger now. And then we'd also have a time capsule of what my life was like back then and what being an adult and being there during things like Occupy was like. So that would be different. And what I would say is, right now is a really interesting period in time to build a time capsule that captures what it's like to be an adult having these different experiences. So if I was making content and I was a Gen Z adult and I was in college, I'd be making content about being a Gen Z adult in college and about trying to learn these things and about frustrations and about what our experiences are. If I was going to do reaction content, I would react to things that talk about my generation or call out my generation, and I would react to them and then say, and then I would make those video pillars Gen Z reacts, or a Gen Z reacts, or a Gen Z guy reacts, Gen Z girl reacts to blank, so that people could see that perspective on that thing. But I'd only react to things that are already viral. But that would only be one pillar of my content, and I'd be multidimensional. I'd be doing react videos from my generation's perspective. I'd be doing man or woman on the street interviews of people my own age and talking about things that are popular and that we care about and that are matter to us and current events. And I'd be documenting aspects of my own life, and I'd be doing narrative videos about my struggles, but I'd make them artistic and cinematic so that there's a reason to watch that is not even just all about me, but also about this storytelling that I'm able to do about my experiences. And it would be the Wonder Years, but for Gen Z in a way, in terms of encapsulating a moment in time and a shared generational experience with a narrator and some cool imagery and some cool storytelling. And that's how I would probably be doing it. And so, um, those would be my pillars, and the narrative stuff, the cinematic vlog like narrative stuff would be my medium to hard mode style videos. The reaction videos are easy mode because I'm reacting to news events, and then a mode that's between easy and normal mode, or easy and medium is the man woman on the street style things, and then that also gives me fodder to clip those things for YouTube Shorts, and then those obviously get a bunch of views. So that's how I'd be doing things. That's how I would be doing things in that situation because again, I think it'd be the perfect storm for someone in that age to be making that content. Taser Laser 27 asks, question, what would you do for quote unquote small dog content? Um, I'd probably as long as it wouldn't be hurtful to my dog, I would probably put peanut butter in my dog's mouth and then make fake talking dog videos and make YouTube shorts and make those go viral. Thanks. Kia says, question, would a channel about a Gen Z becoming a digital nomad work to also support my business of digital marketing strategy for a service-based business? I love this idea, honestly. I love this idea, and if it was me, I would do it, but I would make it a combination of how cinematic travel videos like Maddie Hapoya and Lost LeBlanc do, and I would probably go spend $200, get a DJI Neo drone. I actually own one. I'd get a $200 drone because as long as I'm traveling and nomading, I might as well show off the style of thing that I would be doing. So I'd get that. I would get uh I'd get either a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or I'd get the Osmo 7 gimbal. This is not the Osmo 7 gimbal. This is an RS 4 big gimbal for a camera. But what I would do is I'd probably just get my smartphone and put it on a gimbal. Um, get the DJI mic minis and plop those on to get the good audio. And what I would be doing is I would basically become Casey Neistat 2.0, but as a digital nomad in Gen Z. And I would kind of appropriate some of the production aesthetics that Casey Neistat had back in the day. But getting Casey Neistat's aesthetics now is down to your phone, a $200 DJI Neo drone that can be controlled with a phone. Doesn't require anything else, um, wireless mic, phone gimbal, and the phone gimbal comes with a light on it and it's done. And so then I have high quality audio, video, and I have a drone angle for things that I want. And I would be making content in the style of Casey Neistat, production wise, but as a digital nomad living in these interesting places. And Casey, if you remember, he did his vlogs to promote his business Beam that he sold his app to CNN. I think it was $20 million he sold his app for. So remember, Casey's vlogs were to grow his business. They got him brand deals, they got him tech connections and all these other things. And later it grew 368 as a business. So Casey's always used the vlog at the time at its peak to promote his businesses. You can do the same. And it's interesting to do it as a digital nomad because as a digital nomad, you would have these interesting days that you would be living in cool and interesting places that we don't get to see, and we could get to see what your life is like. So that's how I'd be doing it. I'm gonna have to get through these questions because eventually we are gonna have to go into the actual YouTube dashboard here. Um, His and Her Holy Hour podcast says, as a faith-based couples podcast, what content outside of dating and relationships attracts viewers? Most channels seem random. Where can we find solid ideas? In theory, in theory, it depends on you guys' situation. If you have children, you can also talk about some things with parenting, but you could also have a faith-based perspective to current events if you wanted to talk about politics, because basically there's main pillars of things that people care about. They care about health and relationships. They care about money. They care way more than they should about politics, but that's spicy right now. The thing is, the two things they're getting sorry, let me phrase that. The three things that are getting the most views on all social media platforms right now, besides consumer content, are dating, social commentary, celebrity gossip and scandals, and politics. Those four things. Those four things are absorbing the overwhelming majority of views. If you're not making high grade consumer content like Mr. Beast and Ryan Trahan, if you're not making high grade consumer content, those things are getting all the views. You could then tackle those things from a faith based perspective if views were something you were after. Jesse Chaplin says, have you assisted magic, magician, performer channels as examples I could study? Never worked with one. I've worked with almost every other type of performer, but never a magician. So I don't have a case study. I don't have a case study on me working with a magician. I could analyze the channel of a magician and tell you what I think. I have several ideas that can be done for a channel like that. The closest thing is, it's not a case study because I didn't work on this channel, but the closest thing to that is working with like a VFX artist who does digital magic and digital illusions. And so obviously I've worked with people who do VFX work and do video editing work and do special effects. I actually was doing VFX and special effects as a freelancer at one point. Um, Nothing super major, but it was like green screen stuff. I mean, you guys have seen my green screen work before, so you can guess there. And that I've done lightsaber, rotoscoping work, and special effects and things of that nature. So special effects is not quite the same thing as magic, but in the mind of the viewer, it kind of is. There are several ideas that I would have around that, because what we would do is we would reverse engineer a idea of magic, but we would look at what Zach King does with his visual illusions. Zach King, you already know. And the thing is, it's not necessarily hard to build a channel around the concept of a magician for me. It's not that I've done it, but it's not something that would be extraordinarily hard for me from an ideation standpoint, because from an ideation standpoint, you don't think like a circus magician or a street performer. What you would be thinking about is you would be thinking about micro entertainment and micro moments of creating um interesting spectacle moments that people are going to share on their phone, and then they're going to text this and share this link with their mom or their friend group or the people at work around the water cooler, is how you'd be thinking. Like, I watched all these things when I was a kid. I was watching David Blaine. When I was a kid, I actually did a book report on Houdini. Um there's, um I don't like him as a performer, but like Chris Angel and stuff like that. I used to watch the deconstructions of his illusions and things like that. When I was a kid, I was very much into optical illusions. So there are things that can be done that makes a magician and an illusionist successful. And you could look at Zach King, but you could also look at the explainer style of Vsauce and Veritasium and Mythbusters. And the thing is, you could do interesting things with that. And you don't have to always explain the magic tricks, but you could be explaining something else and do and perform a magic trick as an allegory or a way to explain something else or a concept. And so the thing is, you'd remix and marry magic to something else. Then it's unexpected and it's a surprise to people and it's a gotcha because you're doing something and then a magic trick inserts itself into the middle of the conversation. There are also skits that can be done with a magician or illusionist where you do a skit that is about regular everyday life and then you're using a magic trick during the skit and confusing the other person. There's also ways to do this with man on the street pranks using magicianship and illusions. Those would be concepts that if I was working with somebody and coaching a magician, we'd be exploring how to make that content interesting and how to do things that could entertain a YouTube audience because a magician could do a completely different spin on a wholesome prank channel and it'd be actually really cool. And there are more affordable ways to make Mr. Beast like content if you're an actual magician. If you're an actual magician, there are ways to make Mr. Beast like content. I'm not saying it'll get Mr. Beast views, but I'm saying the entertainment value could be there on a smaller budget if you're just a magician and an illusionist in terms of people being excited and watching, especially if you bring ordinary regular people in on the gimmick or the trick. And then also then if you did something nice for them at the end of it, it becomes a wholesome prank that also includes some charitable giving in a way that makes someone's life better, and then people would watch that. Luminous Sar Fable says, big thanks. Noticed some improvements on my channel by taking your advice. Ah, glad to hear it. Excellent. Always love to see when people take the advice and it works. Yep. So I think that's going to be mostly it for at least for right now for questions. Because what I really want to do is I want to make sure that you guys get to see some of the actual behind the scenes of the YouTube channel side for these settings. So for example, when you do a video itself, obviously you get a title and you get up to 100 characters, but to not have stuff cut off, you usually want to keep it around 60 characters, maybe no more than 70, but 60 is about right. Now, this happened to get a high SEO score in vidIQ. I don't really believe in SEO scores from vidIQ or TubeBuddy in terms of your view performance. I don't think it matters significantly, if I'm being honest, because what really matters is human psychology, not SEO. Human psychology would be infinitely more important to optimize around. The human psychology of this particular title is there because of an expectation that it sets. So the expectation here with the human psychology is I add a layer to this how to get 4,000 hours of watch time on YouTube in 2025 by using the word exactly in front of it. And then there's a hook at the beginning of the video that capitalizes on that idea. So you'd have to watch the video to fully understand exactly what this is doing and why I set it up that way. Because when I have exactly or how to actually do something instead of just how to do something, the reason it works is because within 8 seconds when they click on the video, I'm validating the exactly part by saying I'm going to give you a step, a process or a system or a formula for doing something or how to actually do it. Because then I give you for something like this, like the math and numbers and statistics that you don't get in these videos of how to do this and then it's a different experience than what you normally get. So I immediately make my video different from every other video on the topic in the first 8 seconds, and that validates the psychology of using actually or exactly in the title. One of the other keys to this is that my transcript matches exactly what my video title is. Multiple times throughout the video, I say the exact words that are in my title and the meaning behind it. So the thing is, my video can be proven by YouTube's algorithm to be accurate to the video. So I do that just naturally because I'm a public speaker. I don't need scripts to do that, but for most of you, the truth is, the videos that tend to, aside from some weird random one-off videos out there, the videos that get the most views in YouTube are scripted. No matter what everyone says about this new age of authentic videos, the truth is those are rare people with rare circumstances and situations. They're not fully random, if I'm being honest. There's a reason psychologically why their stuff is working. But for most of us, you should outline or script your videos and then be more intentional about them. Now, my descriptions and the way I do my descriptions are optimized for revenue, not for search and discovery. I'm optimizing for revenue. However, in terms of related videos, I always put a watch these next in there to tell YouTube and to signal to its algorithm that these videos are related and that these videos should kind of be clustered or recommended together. And then here, of course, I have affiliate links because those things help make more money than the ad revenue does, at least per views. And so that's how I do it. Then you obviously have a thumbnail. I try to add things to playlists that make sense. So this one's in 2025 videos and live streams. Start here to get 4,000 watch hours. 2024 videos from Roberto Blake. Start here to get monetized on YouTube. Makes perfect sense why it's in those playlists. The audience, of course, we want it to set to not made for kids, and we don't want to be age restricted. This video was not sponsored, so it doesn't have paid promotion. It was not altered by AI. There are no deep fakes or fake news in here. I did my own chapters, but I still had checked this automatic chapters and key moments. It's not necessary because I did my own. So my own override YouTube. This is something that I always do is you can overwrite automatic suggestions by creating your own. I usually check this because when I upload, sometimes I don't have the timestamps ready when I upload. So I do this, but once I have them, my timestamps will automatically overwrite the ones YouTube suggests, so it doesn't matter. Automatic places. For privacy, unless you're a travel channel or your location matters or you want people to know where you're at country-wise or city-wise or geography-wise, I uncheck this all the time. This is checked by default. I don't like having this one for privacy reasons, so I always uncheck that. Concepts. This is an experiment by YouTube. Since YouTube is experimenting, I feel like I can only get more views by doing this. And it says help viewers learn more about unfamiliar terms without leaving the video. Concept mentioned in your video may appear in the description. So if this can help teach my audience something, I allow it because, hey, I figure I can only benefit from that. Tags. For this video, I used my general tags and then all I did was write other versions of my title that I would A/B test. And I also kind of label my videos the way you would if you were uploading it to Netflix, like, hey, it's from the current year. The video was shot in 4K. Those are features of the video. So I include those. My language is English, so I do that. I don't worry about things like the recording date or the video location. If I were doing news or on the ground or field reporting or I was speaking at a public event, then yes, I would do this, but otherwise I don't. Um, I don't want people using my content without my permission in reaction videos, so I don't do Creative Commons. I tell it to distribute everywhere. Instead of only on monetized platforms, I want views from everything. Um, I do notify my subscribers. Now, if I was doing variety content and I knew I was doing new content that my viewers didn't sign up for, I would not check the publish to subscription feed and notify subscribers in that case if I knew I was doing that. If I want the algorithm to find me people, and let's say I was doing YouTube Shorts, then maybe I don't do that as well. Allow embedding. I do tutorial content. I embed it on my website sometimes, so I allow embedding. The auto dubbing for YouTube for multi-language audio, I let that ride, obviously, now that I have that feature. Thank you, YouTube, for giving me that. Shorts remixing. I don't want people remixing my content as shorts, honestly, so I always check don't allow. You guys might want people to do that. I don't want people doing that, so I just don't. My category is education. I feel like this matters more for advertisers than anything, so I don't worry about it. I don't feel it affects views. I feel it affects advertising recommendations. So I feel that, but again, I don't think it does this drastic thing that makes all the difference in the world in your ad revenue, but I handle it anyway because there was a point where it did. So I do that. I obviously leave my comments on. You can turn them off. You can pause them. I keep on basic moderation for that. I don't keep it as strict. If I was doing a channel that had a very young audience, I would probably have it on strict if I'm being honest. I usually try to have it sort by newest. It doesn't matter what you do there. And I let people see how many views and likes the video has. I don't hide that. So those are the basic settings that you get with every video that you upload and how I handle them and why. And like I said, I always upload my videos to start as private. A lot of times I also like to add my own subtitles to them manually. So the thing is, you can come in here and you could deal with YouTube's subtitles and you could edit and optimize them. But I like to go to upload file and then I upload what's called an SRT file. And for me, my SRT files are accurately generated in Adobe Premiere Pro. So I do them in Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe Premiere Pro makes those for me, and I'm good to go. So your video editors, maybe your video editor does that, and maybe it doesn't. So that's how I handle the subtitles. For end screens, like I said, I am strategic about the handoff of my end screens. So for me, it's something like, hey, um, I want to hand off an end screen to a video that's about, if I'm doing 4,000 hours of watch time, then hey, I want to hand a video off to something that is about 1,000 subscribers if I'm going to hand off on the watch time. So I would select something like that and then it's like, okay, now some of you are just clicking best for viewer and you're letting the algorithm take the wheel. If you don't verbally call out what video you want people to watch and you haven't decided that because you didn't make an intentional video and it's kind of a throwaway, then maybe you should click best for viewer and have that be the thing. I also, the reason I tend to try to avoid sometimes having two options, even though you could have a video and a playlist, decision fatigue for the viewer. I give them one option, they're more likely to do it. So things like that help. Info cards. You can put info cards throughout your videos. There are times I do it, there are times I don't. If your video is recommending a product that you sell, you absolutely want to do that. When you do a verbal call out and a visual call out to your product, you want to link there. If you reference another video, then verbally definitely do that or a playlist. Like again, for this series, I could do that for this 12-week series. So obviously you do things like that. We talked about monetization and editing the monetization settings in one of our previous workshops. So you can check that out if that's something you had questions about. When you want to publish a video, like I said, I start with the video as private. That way I can get through all of the checks and clearances for YouTube. And I can also just check any of my own errors or mistakes one last time so that I don't have to take it down and re-upload. So I do those things. It also gives me time to upload my transcript, my timestamps, things like that, set up these other settings. So those are things for optimizing your individual video, like we talked about. For channel settings, you go to the settings icon. You want to make sure that you choose the currency and country, obviously. For your channel, you want basic info like your country of residence. They're going to be very important for your taxes and your payments. Like I said, for your keywords for your channel, focus on your brand and also your content pillars, like we talked about for strategy of what your channel is known for, the topics you talk about, the featured playlist on your channel. Those things as sentences and phrases, you would put those there. For the advanced settings for your channel, you want to check no, this channel is not for kids. If you do ads, you'll link to your Google Ads account. You obviously link to your AdSense account, um, so on and so forth. I go ahead and do for automatic captions. I make sure that I check do not show inappropriate words for the automatic captions. I let it do the automatic product tagging because it's another opportunity to potentially make money from YouTube's affiliate program with YouTube Shopping. If you qualify and have 10,000 or more subscribers and live in countries that participate. Um, right now, I'm allowing viewers to clip my content. This is kind of an option. I debate turning this on or off because I can use this from my other channel to clip things from my channel for my highlights channel. So it makes life easier. But I also have Opus Clip. So I don't really need that per se. But if YouTube's clipping tool gets decent, there might be benefits there. I obviously don't allow the third-party companies to train AI models using my content because they're not paying me for it. So kind of stubborn that way. And so then the rest of these are you can remove your YouTube account or manage your YouTube account. Feature eligibility is when you first set up your channel, you want to verify with a phone number. You want to verify with a phone number and then enable these things. And for example, obviously the ability to do content ID claims. This you can do with a video verification or a valid ID, or in my case, I'm an OG channel, so I was already in there for that. Um, and this is going to be necessary for you to be eligible to apply for monetization. So you either have to video verify with your phone, have a ID, or just a uh, very long channel history. For the intermediate features, these are 15-minute or longer videos, thumbnails, live streaming, etc. Verify phone number to get access to that. And then, of course, for standard features, everybody gets the standard features. So those would be there. Like I said earlier, for channel upload defaults, what I do is the links in the descriptions for my videos for my products and my affiliate links. I have those in the description and I can just delete some if I need to. I have it set to private all the time. I have some default tags that so I don't have to worry about it. So those are the things that are defaults for me. You can set up your own defaults and that'll just make your life easier. For the automatic advanced settings for all your uploads, standard license, the category that I'm in, education, mostly for advertisers, allowing the automatic chapters, and having mid-roll monetization during my videos always enabled so that if I don't get around to it manually, I've got some extra ads to make some extra money. So I always do that. Ad categories, like I said, there are ads that you might want to block. Again, I could block ads from competitors. I block ads on a lot of sensitive topics. Alcohol, not a big fan. It's a once in a while thing for me, but I just don't need them promoting my stuff. Drugs and supplements, don't trust them. Gambling, get rich quick schemes. Politics, I've had politics blocked on this channel since 2014. You're welcome. Um, and again, things my channel just isn't about, I have it blocked. So I have that in the sensitive categories. In the general categories, believe it or not, I've blocked a bunch of things that I didn't think were relevant to my audience. A lot of them fall under the sensitive categories as well. So I just do that. Permissions, that's just going to be who has access to your channel. Community moderation, you can have mods for your channel. You can have defaults like comments being on, basic moderation, same thing for your live chats. the viewers on post moderation. For your community tab, if you want your viewers to be able to post things, if someone is subscribed to me, they for over a week, they can make a post in the community section, and I can moderate it in terms of basic moderation for that, so that nothing inappropriate gets through. Or I can be on hold. They don't have strict. I would love it if they had strict, because for that I can do strict. So that's a setting you can use in community. Obviously, for your community moderation, you also can block channels. You could have mods, you could have admin mods, and you could also have approved users. You could have hidden users, and you could have your live redirects for raids. You could also block specific words. And so I figured out how to block a lot of the spam. You're welcome, by doing that. So those would be things. You could choose to fill out creator demographics as a survey. Personally, I wouldn't bother. And so, yeah, those would be your channel settings in completion, and how you handle channel settings. Um, We have customization. So customization is obviously going to include things like your channel banner, which you could, click if you want to change or remove. Shows you how it looks on all the devices, and it gives you the dimensions here. In our creator starter pack, we have some assets for you. I can't remember if we have channel banners. If we don't, we'll update it to have channel banner stuff for you with the dimensions. I know we have channel banners in the YouTube starter kit. If the mods can link to the YouTube starter kit, I know we have channel banners, thumbnails, and other graphics already done for you. They were done with Photoshop. You can edit them for free using Adobe Express, which opens Photoshop files. Obviously, you can put your profile picture here. It shows you what it'll look like. You can put your display name, your handle for your channel. You can put a description of your channel. Now, for me, because I have a coaching business and because of credentials, I did two things. One, the first thing you see on the about section of my channel is my goal to take 100,000 creators full time. Really ambitious. We'll do that and provide the best resources in creator education. Then I have the Academy Pro group, and where you can reach out to me for sponsorships, for the sponsors who want to look that up. And that's a controlled email address for that. Then what I do is, because if anyone wants to question me or why I do what I do or know my credentials, I just go ahead and read you my bloody resume and list my real world accomplishments. So all the videos I did, my speaking engagements, all the podcast interviews, the billboard in Times Square, the customer database, which actually is no longer 3,400. It is 4,000 customers in Awesome Creator Academy's database now. Wrote a best-selling book, wrote for some magazines, won some awards, featured in some magazines for my own digital art. Answered over 1,000 questions on Reddit. I forget how many I answered on Quora. If I can ever figure that out, and if it's a big enough number, we'll throw it in there. Publicly reviewed over 5,000 YouTube channels for our channel reviews over the years. So that was a big deal. I directly helped grow over 150 channels that I've coached through the years to 100K subscribers. We know that we've grown 20 channels to 1 million. I've coached over 600 creators, but we can leave it at 500. It's a rounder number. And actually, we have over 100 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. So we'll update that. So for my about section, like I said, I used things like that. Links, I link to something that grows my email list. You guys could do what you want there, but for my links, I linked to things that make me money for the most part, or grow my list, and that is my approach to um doing these things. So I have the email there for outreach, And right now my watermark is a QR code. I've dabbled with doing other things with that. Maybe I leave it a QR code, we'll see. Helps with connected television sets when people watch me on the TV. So the home tab customization is for your YouTube channel itself. And this is, like I said, you can make a video that specifically is for people who haven't subscribed to you. This is a popular video on the channel this year that keeps growing. We think it'll be 100,000 view video. I think it's at 80,000. I think it'll be 100,000. And then this one, our 3-hour complete strategy guide, would be great for people who've subscribed who haven't seen it yet. And then I strategically placed different playlists on the channel based on what my audience would value more and value most. So I don't think the thing people value more and value most is always the newest videos that I've made. My videos take 3 to 6 months to get traction and to start getting views because they're evergreen education videos. So watching my latest video isn't always the most meaningful thing. People who want to can. So I start with what's most helpful to my audience, which is if you have 0 subscribers, do this, 0 to 50K strategy, 1,000 subs, merch, things that have been successful on the channel. And then I have the most relevant videos that I think from the current year. Um, not necessarily the latest, but the best of the latest. Then I have our 12-week workshops here so people can find that because it's a big initiative we're doing. Um, I have videos if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to build a content strategy, you watch these. If you're trying to monetize and make money, you watch these. If you're trying to get sponsors, you watch these. If you're trying to meet the monetization requirements, you'll watch these to learn about that or policy. If you're struggle bussing with your video editing, you watch these to improve your watch time and retention. If you want to make higher quality content, you watch these. If you want to learn more about ideation, you watch these. And if you want to build a personal brand, you watch these. And that is how I thought of my playlist. I thought of it based on the things that I want to be known for, the things that my viewers value most, and the things that make it easier to understand my channel. So that is how I approached the YouTube homepage stuff. Now, if I were making a bunch of shorts content and it was successful, I could easily choose to put the shorts content here. If memberships were making me a lot of money, I could add a section for that. You get up to 12 of these sections, so you choose them wisely when it comes to your sections for your playlist on your channel. You choose them wisely. And so those are the customization settings for YouTube. And so there you go for that. Again, with languages, you can click on your individual videos and you can see how YouTube is handling the languages around your videos, and you can review which ones are dubbed in your voice. And the thing is, these are all in draft right now for me to review. So I can approve them or not approve them in terms of the audio. So I could review it and then I could decide whether or not I want to approve this and say that, okay, I'm good with it. Then I'll show you how to add background music to your videos in. So the way you would do that is I would toggle now to the Spanish.
Hoy te mostraré cómo añadir música de fondo a tus videos en Adobe Premiere Pro. Para ello, sigue 6 sencillos pasos.
And so I could then approve this and say, sure, go ahead and publish this and let that ride. Because I could say, okay, I approve of that. I'm good with it. So that's how we would do that. And so now it's going to publish those in those other languages. So again, that's another setting that we can modify there in YouTube. Obviously, we've talked about monetization settings in the past. We don't need to get too much into it here, but obviously you can turn this on and off for your videos across your channel. And that would be, or the individual video itself. In Studio, you obviously have access to the music creator beta. We talk about that another time. But for monetization here, again, you can manage different things with your monetization in this tab. We've already talked about that in our previous workshop around monetization. Copyright here, you can manage you know matches. For me, this one is from my own podcast channel. It matches something, so I'm fine with that because I did a members only thing for my podcast channel. This one, this says like it's 100% of their video. I'm probably, since they just re-uploaded an old video of mine, I'm probably gonna issue them a copyright strike if I'm gonna be honest. This says that this is 100% match on my video. Copyright strike is probably gonna happen. 10% don't care about it. Let them ride. 100%. All right, going to do that one. This one is someone, they uploaded the review I did of their channel, so I'm not gonna strike them. 10% of a video. All right, don't necessarily care. 10% of a video, don't care. Re-uploading 100% of my video. Um, going to sorry, it's 100% of their video is a clip from my video. They're so small that I probably am not going to strike them. This one fully uploaded one of my YouTube shorts. It's 100% of the video. Probably just going to strike it. So you can manage those things here in that section under copyright for YouTube. So we did languages, community. Obviously, you can check hold, view posts, settings, things like that. So no big deal there. So yeah, that's basically everything when it comes to the settings in YouTube. We basically covered all of the YouTube settings. And so we can answer any questions you guys have about that, but there's all the YouTube settings and how you optimize them for your channel. There's all your upload settings and how you optimize them for your channel. Let's see. So yeah, I think that should cover all of that. Let's see. So it looks like we have a couple of more questions. Um, Luminous Zara Fable says, question, any strategy or advice on crafting old, evergreen, high-viewed content into an ebook or a website? Interesting. So what I would probably say with that is I'd probably take the transcripts, upload the transcripts into ChatGPT or Claude, and then I'd have it make me a table of contents or an outline around the most interesting or relevant aspects of that content, and then tell it to help me organize the information. So it's taking my own words. It's not writing this stuff for me. It's taking my own words. Now it's going to organize the information and then break it down into an outline for me. Then I would ask it or I would even talk to it about what we're trying to accomplish with this website or with this ebook. I would tell it who the audience for the website or the ebook is and what their goals are, and then tell it to help me build my outline and extract what the most valuable or helpful things from my videos transcripts are to help that person. Then once it tells me the outline for that, I know, okay, that's what I should write about. Or I could ask it, say, hey, taking my transcript and my words, can you give me summaries of each bullet point in this outline that would be the most helpful to the audience, and just paraphrase my own words and quotes and quote me. Then it's just recontextualizing my own information. So AI is not being my writer, it's being my editor. And this would be what would happen if you hired a professional editor to edit your book, edit your manuscript. They'd have to do this anyway. So now you're just using AI instead of hiring a copy editor to do this for you, a senior copy editor. You could even tell ChatGPT or Claude to act as your senior copy editor. And then you could go back and forth and challenge it and say, I don't like this about the rewrite, or let's do it differently this way. Or say, okay, great. I love all of this. And then you could say, okay, now that we have all of this, can you rewrite the whole thing for a fifth grade reading level while still standing professional and make sure that we use active voice instead of passive voice? Okay, great. Now you've got the content. And the thing is, it's completely fair game because you are not generating anything with this AI. You're using AI as an assistant. You're using assistive AI, not generative AI, because you fed it your own words, your own transcript, and then had it recontextualize and edit that, which is something that a human being would do for you if you paid them. But instead of paying a professional copy editor a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s, you're paying ChatGPT or Claude $20 a month. Or you're using the free version. I'm paying $20 a month. So, or $30 a month, or whatever I'm paying. Whatever I'm paying. Diamond Hunter Enterprises says, Roberto, explain why standard versus common attribution license has advantages one over the other type of content. So if I wanted to do, if I was doing a faceless channel or a video essay channel or a commentary channel, and I wanted someone like Asmongold to react to my content, I would do it as Creative Commons so that he knows that I'm not going to copyright claim and copyright strike him, and that I can't do that because when I make it Creative Commons with attribution, it just means that they have to credit me, but they can freely react to my content, and then I can benefit from the extra exposure. So if I was doing a commentary channel, a news channel, a politics channel, or a faceless channel, or a video essay channel, and I wanted someone like Asmongold or Susie Liu or one of the other big reactors on YouTube to react to my content, I'd make it Creative Commons so that they know I'm not going to strike them. That's why. NC says, question, is it true that even successful YouTube channels only have a 5-year lifespan? It depends on the creator. That's largely true, but it's mostly largely true because most creators who are massively successful like that, the ones that we all see, the ones we all watch, like I said, they're all kids under 30, not married, not children of their own. They're living their lives. The reason that they have a 5-year lifespan often is because a lot of them make mistakes and get themselves canceled. That's why they have a 5-year lifespan. 5 years after going viral, mind you. 5 years after being relevant, 5 years after going viral, 5 years after they hit 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. It's because they're kids, they're reckless a lot of times, and they get themselves canceled. Or they had spicy content that appealed to young, edgy people in the culture of their time, and people outgrew them because they were appealing to a young, edgy audience that once they get to be Peter Pan, but their audience doesn't get to be Peter Pan. Their audience has to go out in the real world, become Peter Banning, grow up, sell out, and has to get a mortgage. The creator gets to sit there in a fake world a lot of times if they're young and sit there and not grow up and keep trying to cater to and pander to younger and younger viewership, but then they get older and older themselves and they become disconnected from the culture. So it becomes this gap. And since those creators don't grow up, again, you can think of examples. I mean, it'd be people like Grade A, Under A, or Leafy is here if you guys are familiar with commentary. It'd be things like that. Or someone who did grow up and leave his audience behind was Filthy Frank. Filthy Frank made edgelord content, but he rebranded, became the singer JoJo, moved on. He grew up, but he moved on, and largely the people who used to watch him, most of them kind of sort of grew up, but he's just kind of like a specific period of time in old YouTube's history of making very edgy, offensive content and being a living meme. But he got to a point in his life, in his 30s, his 20s and 30s, where he had new career options. He had a new option to be a singer because he was talented, and he had to completely rebrand. He didn't delete his channel. He acknowledges that that was an era of his life, and then he moved on. Um, but there were a lot of people for a long time that were his fans that didn't grow up and move on. But now most of the people who watch that are now 30 plus years old. So it doesn't matter and it's not relevant anymore. So again, the lifespan of a YouTuber is because one, if you grow big, it's usually because you have a large audience of kids who got infinite time to watch your content. The older you get and the older they get, there's a cultural disconnect, especially between your success and your wealth and then their life. So it's hard to stay relevant forever. It's hard to be Peter Pan forever. And either you grow up and become Peter Banning with the wife, the kids, the mortgage, or they do, and then one of you doesn't relate to the other anymore. That's what happens. So now here's the thing: older content creators, they can last forever because they build real businesses and there's no downside to them uploading. And even if they don't get views all the time anymore, their business continues to grow from the people who do watch them, and the people who do watch them, um, it's promoting their brand, their company, their business. It becomes a marketing funnel. So if you're an older person, the thing to do is largely to not do entertainment content, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. If you're over 30, like entertainment content, if you're not going to be a comedian like Tim Dillon or something like that, is largely a dead end. It's a nice hobby and it's nice if it blows up. And I'm not trying to be mean. There's types of entertainment that work if you're older. True crime, for example, as entertainment content works if you're older. True crime does. Commentary can. Gossip and T channels technically can do that. There are aspects of entertainment that work as you get older. It's very rare and very hard, though, to be a 40 or 50-year-old gaming YouTuber. Now, you can be a 40 or 50-year-old gamer if you've got your life together. That's fine. But I'm saying to do YouTube gaming in your 40s and 50s, though, it gets to be a little cringy. People can start accusing you of being creepy. Hanging around that long in the community, usually the smart thing to do is if you're going to stay in that community is if you became successful and a millionaire and made money, you'd want to go and move to being an owner or a part owner in an esports team or own an esports org, because now that you're in the owner's seat, it's not cringy to be in the community anymore because you're building and growing and financing the community. But just being a participant, it gets a little, rough there when you have people from age 14 to 45 in the hobby. It's a little rough, unless you also are into it with your kids. It's a little rough. It's a little awkward. And again, I'm not trying to tell you all what you can and can't do. I'm just telling you how it's perceived. The longevity of your brand and the longevity of having a YouTube channel, if you're going to come to it as an adult in your late 20s, early 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, is largely not on the entertainment side. Or if it is, it's on the edutainment or infotainment side, like being a surgeon like Dr. Chris Rayner, and then being a surgeon that reacts to anime, TV shows, and movies and tells you the real life injuries that those people would have if it was the real world, or if you're a lawyer and then you're telling them what the punishment for being that criminal in fiction, what their actual sentencing would be, or if you're a psychology major and then you break down the romance or the dating of fictional characters, beloved fictional characters, movies, TV shows, and then it's like, oh, relationship expert reacts or psychologist reacts. Yeah, so professionals doing reaction content, you can make that last longer because your credential is unique and it's harder to compete with you. So you have a business moat there for your brand at least. And then you still probably have your career or something like that, or you can write a book or write books and your audience will buy your books. So there's that aspect of it. But usually what you want to do if you're older, if you're over 30, is just go down the route of being a professional on YouTube to begin with and making non-entertainment content or making professional content that is entertaining but not entertainment. So it's not entertainment first. It's value first. And what you want to do is you want to build a business so that your YouTube channel is a marketing funnel for your business. Yes, you can make money off the YouTube channel, the sponsorships. I certainly do. Affiliate, ad revenue, all that's fair game. But what you really want is you do want your YouTube channel to be a funnel for your business. That's the point, because then you're not beholden to views, beholden to YouTube culture, and you don't have to do cringy things to get attention from children on the internet. Because that's what most of the viral views on YouTube is people pandering to children and teenagers and broke college kids to get views and to go viral. I mean, I'm just telling it how it is. It's no offense to anybody who makes that content. It's just it is what it is. Everyone knows what the game is. Everyone knows what games they're playing. So you make a choice about which game you're playing. You know, are you going to try to be Peter Pan and sit there and try, hey, fellow kids, are you guys sit there and try to be Peter Pan forever and relate to a young audience, no matter how old you get, and be 40 and still making content for people in college? Or are you going to grow up and you're going to be Peter Banning and you're going to be an adult and you're going to make content that other adults will watch? And for those who don't know why I'm saying Peter Pan and then Peter Banning, it's to, if you're a millennial or Gen Xer, then you remember the 1990s beloved cult classic, the movie Hook, with Dustin Hoffman and the late Robin Williams. God rest in peace. And you remember that as one of your greatest childhood memories, and it's a core memory for you when I say that. Rufio, Rufio. So, like, if you grew up watching that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about with Peter Pan. And so there is a big issue in the YouTube culture with this Peter Pan syndrome, though, of never growing up and moving on and creating a disconnect with you in the audience. And that's why the lifespan of YouTubers ends up often being 5 years. But people who make more mature content, and by mature, I just mean, things that adults would watch that are helpful or productive or make sense to watch as a grown adult, that are less cringe. And are not brain rot, then if you make that content, you could be making YouTube content successfully for 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years. Um, and it's fine. So that's the difference. And if you're a professional, usually you're not doing things that would lead to your cancellation. So again, it's fine. Um, Diamond Hunter Enterprise says, I've been to watch your content. One or more videos, there's mention of evergreen content. Took some time taking off. Can you expand a bit on the YouTube algorithm? Um, I'll be honest, I don't want to at this time because I feel like we've talked enough about the YouTube algorithm this time. But if you watch some of the previous live streams where I've talked about it, um, you know, my belief around it is very, very specific and it's nuanced, but I think a lot of you are too obsessed with the YouTube algorithm. I'm tired of talking about the YouTube algorithm. I want more of you to focus on audience psychology, because if you understand audience psychology, you don't need to worry about the YouTube algorithm. I made a video that's about 90 seconds that explains the YouTube algorithm. So for people who really want it, I would just watch that. Jesse Chaplin says, question ideas, interviewing and reviewing magicians with under 10K subs to help snare their channels and offer directional notes, good or bad. Not really, because that doesn't have any value to people who aren't magicians, and they're already small, so there's not, like, and no offense to them, but there's not this big audience to siphon. So that's not a strategy really. Jess, if you really want to get views on YouTube and you're a magician, you need to do interesting content. And like I said, if I were going to coach a magician, what I would tell a magician to do is that we're going to study Zach King, but we're also going to study Mr. Beast. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some wholesome, in real life content that is magicians pranking regular civilians with their magic, but then we make it wholesome, and then we do something really nice for them that makes their life better, and then everyone wants to share that video because, oh, here's this person that is the unsuspecting real life victim of a wholesome prank, but also they got freaked out by this whole magic thing that happened and they didn't know how to handle it and they got surprised or spooked. But then this nice thing happened to them that made their life better, like all their groceries got paid for, or oh, they got a PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch, or um, they were the victim of this magician's wholesome prank, but now they also are getting a $50 gift card to Chipotle. Like, there's those kind of things would get shared and regular people would care about them. Regular people do not care about you interviewing magicians that have 10K subscribers. They're already not popular. If you're going to if you were going to interview David Blaine and Chris Angel, or famous TV magicians about their stuff, then that'd be different. If you were going to have a magician's duel, here's another viral video idea. magicians, dueling magicians, people one-upping each other and finding a format where you have to go tit for tat back and forth, um, upping the stakes, starting with simple tricks like, okay, um, card trick. Then each magician does a card trick, and then um like the audience in a public crowd, like it's almost like a dance circle. You have a magician's duel in real life. It's filmed cinematically, very interesting. Maybe multiple camera angles, maybe at least two different camera angles, so that we can capture the audience and the audience's reactions and close up on each magician. And then you do magician's duel in real life. And then, all right, first thing starts, okay, card trick. Okay. So card trick, and then each magician does a card trick. Audience does applause or a clapometer, and then okay, you won round one. You did the card trick. Okay, cool. Next thing, close up magic. Okay, each of you does a close up magic trick, and then the audience decides who wins that. Okay, point goes to you. All right. Final round, magic trick with a lovely assistant from the crowd. And then each magician pulls someone from the crowd, brings them into the act, does the trick right then and there, pulls it off, doesn't, whatever. Then the other person does theirs. The audience decides who won the duel. 3 points, 3 rounds. Audience decides the duel. And then it's like loser does a punishment of the winner's choice. Now there's also stakes. Um, and then you also give some prize to the lovely assistants in round three. And so now also the whoever, no matter who wins, someone from the audience is the real winner. And then people care about that. Those are my two formats for a magician. No one cares about interviews from unknown magicians. Not at scale. Unless there's some other weird, interesting angle, or it was really cool. And you had some other angle to it. There might be a way to make it cool if you really want to do interviews with other magicians, but I think my idea is better. Uh, Diamond Hunter Enterprises says, "Hey Roberto, how often should channels go live? How can I get in contact with you, not your team?" I mean, the channel reviews one-on-one are with me. When you actually show up on the call for the one-on-one calls, it's me. Um, So that's the coaching link that they gave you. The coaching link they gave you, that's me. If you book a coaching call, you get me one-on-one for that time. That's how it currently works. Um, my team just does admin work for the most part. But yeah, how often should new channels go live? If you have the capacity and the cadence once a week to build loyalty with the community, that's less about getting more views and it's more about deepening audience loyalty and your relationship with the audience. So for a new channel, once a week is fine. For a gaming channel, I would do live gameplay almost every day if I was a gaming channel, to be honest, because I have to record gameplay for footage if I'm a gamer. So I might as well get paid while I'm doing it by going live, or at least get the watch hours to get monetized. So if I was a gaming channel, I would do daily gameplay and commentary streams, leave them up publicly, accumulate watch hours, get my channel monetized. I also would be using that to record my gameplay footage for my edited content anyway. So if I'm a gamer, I would just go live every day and be done with it and farm footage while getting paid, or at least getting the watch hours to get paid. And then that would make my process easier. That's why I advise all the gaming channels that I coach. That's my advice for them. For any other type of creator, I think once a week for live streams is fine to deepen the relationship with the community. I think we're gonna wrap up here because I think my voice is done. I think my voice is completely shot, and I still have to record videos tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna have to rest my voice, but I think that's probably gonna be it. And then we have channel reviews Friday. Um, the private channel review recording for 50 minutes seems interesting. Does explain more than how it works. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally once you fill out the form and you send me the email, I'm going to sit down, record myself reviewing your channel. I'm going to break down things similarly to how I've done in the public channel reviews, but it'll be private. The difference is in the paid private channel review, I will watch 3 minutes of a video because since it's a private channel review and I'm not uploading it to YouTube or anything and I'm emailing it to you, you can't copyright strike me because that's the reason I can't watch your videos when I do public channel reviews is because of copyright claims and copyright strikes. I'm not going to have you take my revenue or strike my channel. I'm not going to endanger the channel to do channel reviews. So when I do private one-on-one channel reviews, where I want a live call one-on-one with someone in Zoom, or I do a recorded channel review for somebody, I'm able to watch some of their video and comment on their editing, their production, the cadence, the style, the storytelling, and that, and give them that information. And then I'm able to get into the strategy stuff as far as topic, title, thumbnail, timing, content pillars, what I would do, what they're doing well, what they're doing wrong, strengths and weaknesses, and how to better improve. And then that's pretty straightforward. It's not very complicated. That's really all you need to know. And that's what that would look like. Let's see. I'm just checking to make sure and see that I got the remaining questions. Thanks, Kia says, question, would building my business in public be something to put on my new channel? As long as you do it thoughtfully and intentionally, and you're doing it in a way that can only help the business, then yes. So building a business in public, as long as you can make it interesting, and as long as you do it in a way where there's an intentional plan of why you're doing it. It's like, I'm doing this because it improves my reputation with any future clients. I do this because it shows how I'm different and how I stand out from my competitors. I do this because it shows my confidence in what I do. And that I have guts and I'm the disruptor, then sure, those things. Oh, I do this content this way and build in public for my business because it shows my results and it's a living case study, then yes. So you need to think intentionally around things like, I mean, this is something that if you work with me one-on-one, I would help coach you through is the intentionality behind building in public for your business on YouTube and why, okay, living case studies by doing this. I'll give you a prime example. The channel reviews I do on Friday are a living case study of why to do coaching with me one-on-one or why to join Awesome Creator Academy because in real time when I do the Friday live streams, it's a living case study where I'm proving one that people who've done the channel reviews have grown. You're able to see their growth. There are people who come back and get an updated review. You're able to see my ability to think on the fly and give actionable real advice and it makes sense. you're able to see the value of community giving feedback to people because the chat is always good and on fire. So then you could see the benefit of like, wow, what if I had serious creators who were paying all the time and I joined the Academy Pro group, meeting twice a week, getting feedback? This would be great. So you're able to see the proof of concept. So when I do the channel reviews on Fridays, that's proof of concept for building in public, and it grows my business. When I do these weekly workshops, people are able to see the depth with which I can teach a subject, the fact that I'm transparent and show them analytics and data, the value of things that are in our PDF library because you get to see the workshop PDFs. You guys get to download the workshop PDFs and see, wow, that's a really good reference and resource right there. Beyond trying to remember this stuff or take my own notes. Wow, that's so incredibly valuable. Wow, what if I had access to this kind of thing all the time? Because in the academy, when you join the pro group, we have 100 hours of exclusive video training that's not on my YouTube channel. And we have workshops. And so it's proof of concept. So I build in public all the time, right? And even with my public speaking to get sponsors and to get speaking engagements and get flown out, I post a lot of the full speaking engagements and clips from it right here on YouTube, which is building in public, showing that, hey, I'm a public speaker, I'm a keynote speaker. Look at me get on stages, look at how people respond to me, and look at how we produce my speaking engagements and we edit them. So it shows proof of concept. It also shows other conferences and event coordinators what I'm about, shows potential coaching clients what I'm about. So if you're going to build in public and build a business, think from the standpoint of a living case study, think about reputation builders, think about things that show that you produce results for your clients and things that would drive revenue for you. And it's not purely about reach, but one is better than zero when it comes to reach, especially if you're targeting people that can buy from you. It's not about getting a bunch of views or going viral. It's about reaching your potential customer. Um, The last question says, do you pick the video from our channel or when we can pick it for you? If you really have a specific video that you want me to review that reflects something about what the general content of your channel is, or for a specific reason because you want specific feedback on a specific video, you can request that when you request your review. And you can, if you have special instructions, what you can do is you can use when you request a review, you can send specific instructions for your review on the support email, which is part of why I give it a couple of business days before I do the review. I give it about 3 business days before I do the review so that you have time to email me with information. If you didn't think about it before you booked, you can email me and say, here's all the things that I want you to pay attention to when you do this to give me some specific feedback on or what I'm looking for. And so if you have very specific things, most people don't have very specific things that they're interested in. They just because they don't even know what to ask. But if you have that in that instance, then that's something you'd want to do. So if there's a specific video, if you request a recorded private review or even a 30-minute channel review, if there's a specific video, and remember, so that I have time to give you feedback on everything else, I'm only going to watch 3 minutes of it. I'm only going to watch the first 3 minutes of it pretty much, or I'm going to watch the first 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. I'm going to watch the last 30 seconds or last 1 minute of it to see how you finish a video. And if your ending needs to be stronger, there, but I'm going to watch like 3 minutes of your video because I need the rest of the time to give you feedback on the video and the channel as a whole. So I'm not going to sit there and watch a 10-minute video in its entirety for you. If you want me to do something like that, we might need to do a 90-minute call and you can book that. But that's the deal. It has to make sense. But to be honest with you, the truth is most of your audience is only going to initially, if it's the first time they've ever seen you, you better get through the first 2 minutes of the video and they be excited about the rest. Because again, I'm me giving a video 3 minutes of my time is much more than the average audience member does when they haven't seen you before in terms of giving a video a chance before they make up their mind about you. So that's pretty much how I do it because that's realistic from an audience perspective, in terms of the audience's tolerance for giving a creator, a topic, or a video a chance. That's how audience members do it. So, that's kind of thing. And like I said, there is again, in general, when it comes to channel reviews, we do the other ones publicly on Fridays with the super chats to give people a taste of what they can expect. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's enough to make a judgment call to say, okay, I would find at least getting a taste of something like that valuable. There's not a significant difference between recording a channel review in OBS or StreamYard, to be honest with you. There's not a significant difference. There's not like I don't know why the recording of a channel review would need to be done in OBS versus StreamYard. It's not a significant difference, to be honest. How do you get the overlays? The overlays are StreamYard. The overlays here are StreamYard, and that's a feature of the software. Um, Yeah, it's a feature of StreamYard to be able to do the overlays of the chat. I do not believe there is a plugin that does individual chats like this selectively in OBS currently. Someone may have created a plugin for it, but I don't know or I doubt it. So it's StreamYard. And mods, if you could get them my StreamYard link in the chat, then they could take advantage of that. Let's see. I'm just making sure that I've gotten everything. I think we've gotten it. But yeah. But yeah, most likely I'll either do the person's record channel review. The most convenient thing is usually to do it in StreamYard. Um, you know, I could do it in OBS, but I have a better chance of nothing going wrong if I just do it in StreamYard, or Camtasia even. But it's most likely just going to be done in StreamYard. That'd be the easiest. And then, you get it delivered via email through the typical means, and that's pretty much it. Yep. So again, thanks everybody for joining us on the stream, and shout out to our good friends over at 1 of 10. Thank you to them for their support. As always, they're sponsoring our Friday channel review session. So make sure to check out 1 of 10. Like I said, if you use code Roberto, they give you 50% off at checkout at 1of10.com. If you use code AWESOME at checkout, they give you a free trial if you want to try before you buy. Highly encourage everyone in the stream, if nothing else, at least get the free trial. Use code AWESOME, get a free trial of 1 of 10. And then if you like it, use code Roberto to upgrade and get 50% off. And I swear to you, this is a good tool. My clients use it all the time. It's working out for them. I think there's a lot of value in it, and they are improving it all the time. So definitely would check that out. Also, shout out, they're not sponsoring today's stream, but we're going to shout them out anyway. I'm an affiliate. Shout out to our friends at Kajabi, because we talked a little bit about building a business, building in public. My coaching business, everything I do with my coaching calls, everything I do with the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, everything we do even with the free courses, even with the landing pages where you get to download the PDF slide presentations from our free workshops. I'm hosting all of that on Kajabi. I have a great membership website where they don't take 30% of my revenue. Thanks, YouTube. I love you, YouTube, but 30% for memberships, man, that's rough. Kajabi doesn't take any of it. And so I just pay my monthly fees. I get to keep all of my revenue. I get to host my products in my business, and I get to control everything. And it's all no code tools. I get an email list, automations, the works, and it's convenient. It's affordable if you run an actual business, and it's a great way to grow your revenue. So shout out to our friends at Kajabi. Mods, if you could drop a link in the chat, that'd be great. We're going to update the description at the end here to make sure we're covering that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, you guys. Make sure you come back for our Wednesday workshop next week. Also, we've already scheduled Friday's YouTube channel review session for Friday. It's already scheduled. It's locked in, loaded. As long as nothing goes wrong in my real life, we'll be doing that at the scheduled time. And we look forward to it. We're going to review 10 channels, probably no more. And we're going to have a good time. You guys are going to learn a lot, and I'm looking forward to it. So it was great having a Wednesday night session with you all. We're going to go ahead and close it out, and you're going to learn a little bit more about Awesome Creator Academy in the outro. Other than that, definitely would encourage you guys to consider checking out everything we offer at awesomecreatoracademy.com. But also, if that's out your price range, I would encourage you to buy my book, Create Something Awesome: How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. It is affordable for you to at least do that much if you want to have a structured way to learn to be a content creator. We also have our free Creator Foundations course that you can check out. That is a free pay what you want, pay what you can course. We usually ask that if you have it, you give a $5 donation when you get the free course. But if all you can afford is $0, then it is free. But we do that. That's another way to donate. That's another way to support the channel. And you can go ahead and go through that course. That course also includes a 90-minute masterclass that I gave at an event in person in New York. That event company is no longer in business, but we took the footage from the live event. It was a 90-minute in-person workshop with creators, and we posted the entire thing, including the Q&A at the end. And so in that free Creator Foundations course, we give you that 90-minute masterclass on how to make money as a content creator, and we even include information about brand deals and questions from the audience. So that's all included in there. We also, so that you have another mechanism to get feedback if you can't afford to be in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, you can join the Creator Foundation's Discord server. I try to pop in a couple times a week, but I'm not there every day and I'm not there every minute. And so we have a lot of people who are active over there, and you can get feedback and you can coordinate with each other. And so that's another great opportunity for you. So those are the things. Mods have you covered with links in the chat. Stay awesome. We will see you next week. Take care. Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a pro group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the pro group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money, that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the pro group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity if you become a VIP member, if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the pro group. Take care.